In the stillness of the night, a chilling breeze swept through the abandoned manor, carrying whispers of the past that seemed to beckon the daring and the curious. As the clock struck midnight, a figure cloaked in darkness emerged from the shadows, its eyes gleaming with an otherworldly light. Those who dared to approach could feel an overwhelming sense of dread wash over them, as if the very air was thick with secrets long buried. Suddenly, a low whisper echoed through the halls, chilling them to the bone, as if the phantom itself was calling out for vengeance. On a foggy evening, the villagers whispered tales of the enchanted lantern, said to be a beacon for lost souls wandering the dark forest. Curiosity drew brave souls to the edge of the woods, where they could hear faint whispers calling their names. One stormy night, a fearless young girl named Ilara decided to uncover the mystery of the lantern once and for all. As Ilara ventured deeper into the woods, the air thickened with an otherworldly chill, and the whispers grew louder. Suddenly, a flicker of light caught her eye, illuminating a clearing where the enchanted lantern hung suspended in midair. To her shock, the ghostly figure revealed itself as a sorrowful spirit bound to the lantern by a curse that held it trapped for centuries. The spirit spoke in a haunting whisper, telling Ilara that only a selfless act could break the curse and free its soul. Determined to help, Ilara gathered her courage and promised to find a way to free the spirit from its torment. With the lantern's glow guiding her, Ilara searched the forest for the ancient artifact that could break the curse, a forgotten crystal hidden deep within the heart of the woods. Step inside the mysterious world of the haunted manor, where every corner holds an untold story waiting to be discovered. Explore the eerie corridors and dark secrets of this abandoned mansion, where each creak of the floorboards echoes the whispers of the past. Legends say that the spirits of past residents still linger within its walls, their stories woven into the very fabric of the manor. Watch as we uncover the chilling history behind this haunted place, revealing the tragic tales that have shaped its eerie reputation. From ghostly sightings to unexplained phenomena, the haunted manor will leave you with goosebumps and a sense of dread. Stay tuned for a spine-tingling journey into the unknown, where each step could unveil another chilling secret. Are you brave enough to visit the haunted manor to confront the unknown and face the shadows that dwell within? In the shadowy depths of the forest, an ancient witch brewed her sinister potion, cackling at the thought of the curse she would unleash upon the unsuspecting villagers. As the full moon rose high in the sky, the witch's eyes glimmered with malice, knowing that tonight would change everything. One by one, the villagers fell into a deep sleep, their dreams haunted by dark whispers that beckoned them towards doom. In the heart of the village, a brave young woman named Ilara awoke, sensing the ominous presence that had enveloped her home. Ilara could hear the echoing laughter of the witch, sending chills down her spine as she resolved to confront the source of the terror. With a flicker of candlelight guiding her way, Ilara stepped outside the night air, thick with an eerie stillness that seemed to press against her chest. As she ventured deeper into the woods, the twisted branches above seemed to reach out like skeletal hands, whispering the secrets of the witch's dark magic. In the heart of an ancient forest, a chilling whisper echoed through the trees, warning those who dared to tread too close to the forgotten ruins. A tattered map passed down through generations hinted at the dire secrets hidden within the shadows of the ruins. As night fell, the air thickened with an unsettling silence, broken only by the distant hoot of an owl. With their hearts pounding, the group of friends approached the ruins, each step reverberating with the weight of their fears. Suddenly, a bone-chilling wind swept through the clearing, carrying with it a faint, sorrowful wail that sent shivers down their spines. Determined to uncover the truth, they stepped inside the crumbling entrance where darkness consumed all light and hope. As their lights flickered, revealing ancient carvings on the walls, a sense of dread washed over them, as if the very stones were alive with past horrors. In the shadowy depths of an old abandoned house, a chilling whisper echoed through the halls, beckoning anyone brave enough to uncover its secrets. The legend spoke of a ghost, once a kind-hearted woman, whose tragic demise left her spirit wandering aimlessly in search of solace. On stormy nights, locals claimed they could hear her soft sobs mingling with the howling wind, sending shivers down their spines. Determined to uncover the truth, a fearless group of friends ventured into the house, armed with only a flickering flashlight and their sense of adventure. As they stepped inside, the air turned cold, and an unsettling silence enveloped them, almost as if the house itself was holding its breath. Suddenly, a door creaked open on its own, revealing a long-forgotten room filled with old letters and faded photographs that hinted at the ghost's sorrowful past. In the dimly lit corridors of an ancient opera house, whispers echoed through the air, hinting at a dark presence lurking within. A chill ran down the spines of the performers as tales of the phantom became a topic of hushed conversation backstage. One night, as the clock struck midnight, a haunting melody filled the air, drawing the curious closer to its source. The sound seemed to weave through the shadows, beckoning them into the depths of the opera house, where no light dared to tread. As they descended, the air grew colder, and an uneasy sense of dread settled over them, punctuated by the faint echo of a heartbeat. In the heart of the darkness, they stumbled upon a forgotten underground lair, adorned with haunting portraits and cobweb-covered chandeliers. Suddenly, the chilling sound of a voice emerged from the shadows, echoing their deepest fears and secrets. Panic surged through the group as they realized they were not alone, and the presence of the phantom became all too real. With trembling hands, they reached for each other. Solidarity, their only defense against the terror closing in from all sides. In a desperate bid for escape, they turned and raced back toward the staircase, each step echoing their mounting dread. In the heart of the ancient village, a mythical shield lay hidden, rumored to hold unspeakable power and a terrifying curse. Whispers of its existence echoed through the cobblestone streets, sending shivers down the spines of the villagers. One fateful night, a brave young woman named Alara decided to uncover the truth behind the shield's dark legend. As she ventured deeper into the forest, the air turned thick with an unsettling silence, amplifying her heartbeat with every step. Suddenly, a chilling wind swept through the trees, whispering her name and warning her to turn back. Ignoring the warnings, Alara pressed on her curiosity, igniting a fire within her, despite the growing dread. At last, she stumbled upon an ancient altar, the enchanted shield resting atop it, shimmering ominously under the moonlight. As she reached out to touch the shield, a haunting voice echoed in her mind, warning her of the grave consequences that would follow. Despite the warning, Alara's hand trembled as it made contact with the cool surface of the shield, igniting a surge of dark energy that enveloped her. In an instant, visions of despair and chaos flooded her mind, revealing the shield's tragic past and the souls it had consumed. As the clock struck midnight, a familiar, yet unsettling figure appeared at the theme park entrance, drawing the gaze of a lone security guard. The guard's heart raced as the figure with unsettlingly large eyes and a sinister grin began to approach him slowly. Just as the guard thought he might be dreaming, the figure spoke in a distorted, echoing voice that sent chills down his spine. "Why are you afraid of a friend?" The Mickey Mouse figure taunted, its voice dripping with malice as it continued to advance. Feeling an adrenaline surge, the guard turned to run, but the figure's laughter echoed hauntingly behind him, freezing him in his tracks. Summoning every ounce of courage, the guard shouted, "Leave me alone," but his voice trembled, barely breaking through the thick night air. Instead of retreating, the Mickey Mouse figure lunged forward with terrifying speed, its laughter now an unholy cacophony that echoed through the park. In a desperate attempt to escape, the guard dashed toward the nearest building, praying for safety as the laughter grew louder behind him. Reaching the building, he slammed the door shut and locked it, his heart pounding as he leaned against it, breathless and shaken. In the dim light of the old cottage, a mysterious spellbook lay open on the wooden table, its pages weathered and filled with strange symbols. As the wind howled outside, a shadowy figure crept closer, drawn by the whispers of ancient incantations emanating from the tome. With trembling fingers, the figure traced the symbols, feeling a surge of dark energy coursing through their veins. Suddenly, a loud crack of thunder echoed through the room, sending a shiver down the figure's spine as the spellbook began to pulse with an ominous light. As the light intensified, the pages began to turn rapidly, revealing a hidden spell that promised both power and peril. In a moment of reckless ambition, the figure uttered the forbidden incantation, and the air crackled with raw magic. With a blinding flash, the ground shook, and the room filled with a chilling laughter that seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere at once. In that moment of chaos, the figure realized they had unleashed something far more sinister than they had intended. Desperate to regain control, they attempted to recite a counterspell, but the words caught in their throats, swallowed by fear. In the depths of the ancient forest, where shadows dance and whispers echo, a chilling tale begins to unfold. A young woman named Clara, drawn by the allure of the forest mysteries, steps cautiously onto a narrow path, unaware of the danger that lurks ahead. As the sun begins to set, the light wanes and an unsettling silence envelops the woods, heightening Clara's sense of unease. Suddenly, a rustling sound in the underbrush makes Clara freeze, her heart racing as she strains to listen for any sign of movement. Her instincts scream for her to flee, yet curiosity binds her feet to the ground as the rustling grows louder and more insistent. With a shaky breath, Clara takes a hesitant step forward, trying to peer through the thick foliage, her heart pounding in her chest. Out of the shadows, a low growl reverberates through the air, sending chills down Clara's spine as she realizes she's not alone. Panicking, Clara turns to run, but the forest seems alive, branches reaching out like fingers to ensnare her escape. Every snap of a twig behind her makes Clara sprint faster, the growl now echoing ominously closer, feeding her adrenaline-fueled desperation. As the mist curled around the old graveyard, a chilling whisper echoed through the air, sending shivers down Emily's spine. She felt an eerie presence behind her, a sensation that made every hair on her neck stand on end. Turning slowly, Emily's heart raced as she caught sight of a ghostly figure, its ethereal form glowing in the dim light. The ghost's eyes, filled with sorrow, seemed to reach out to her, whispering secrets of a tragic past lost to time. As the wind howled, the ghost began to reveal its story, a tale of betrayal and despair that echoed through the ages. With each word, the air grew colder, and Emily could feel the weight of the ghost's pain pressing against her chest. Desperate to help, Emily took a step forward, offering solace to the lost spirit lingering in the darkness. In that moment, a bright light enveloped them both, and the ghost's anguished wail transformed into a sigh of relief. As the light faded, the ghost vanished with a gentle smile, leaving Emily feeling an overwhelming sense of closure and tranquility. In the stillness that followed, Emily realized she had been forever changed by this encounter, her heart now heavy with the weight of lost souls. In the heart of a forsaken village, a young girl stumbles upon an ancient cloak that whispers secrets of unimaginable power. As she drapes the cloak over her shoulders, a chill runs down her spine, awakening a dark force long forgotten. Strange visions flood her mind, revealing the cloak's sinister past and the fate of its previous owners. Compelled by a mix of curiosity and dread, she ventures deeper into the forest to unearth the truth behind the cloak's origins. With each step, the air thickens with an ancient malevolence, as whispers grow louder, beckoning her to uncover a hidden horror. Suddenly, a figure emerges from the darkness, a guardian of the cloak determined to protect its secrets at any cost. In a voice that echoes like thunder, the guardian warns her that the cloak demands a sacrifice to reveal its true power. Determined not to be a pawn in the cloak's dark game, she resolves to confront the evil that has plagued her village for generations. As she makes her way back, the whispers of the cloak urge her to abandon her quest, sowing seeds of doubt in her heart. Fighting against the cloak's influence, she remembers the stories of those who had fallen victim to its allure and stands her ground. The candle flickered ominously in the dimly lit room, casting eerie shadows on the walls that seemed to dance with life. A chilling breeze swept through the old mansion, carrying whispers of forgotten tales and lingering regrets. As she ventured deeper into the heart of the house, the floorboards creaked under her weight, each sound echoing like a warning. Suddenly, a distant piano began to play its haunting melody, drifting through the air, beckoning her closer. Heart racing, she followed the sound, her breath hitching, as the notes grew louder, echoing through the empty halls. At last she reached the room where the music originated, and her eyes widened at the sight of the ghostly apparition playing the piano. "You shouldn't be here," the ghostly figure said, her voice a mere whisper, lost in the stillness of the room. With a shiver, she took a step back, feeling the weight of centuries of untold sorrow pressing down on her. "Every note I play tells a story." The spirit continued, her fingers hovering above the keys, "a story that must be heard before I can find peace." Compelled by an unexplainable urge, she asked, "What do you need me to do?" In the heart of a fog-laden village, whispers of an ancient witch's curse echoed through the cobblestone streets, sending shivers down the spines of the townsfolk. Legends spoke of a hidden secret buried deep within the witch's lair, a place where no one dared to tread after sunset. One stormy night, a brave young girl named Alara decided to uncover the truth behind the witch's legend, driven by a mix of curiosity and fear. As she stepped into the witch's lair, eerie shadows danced on the walls, and the air was thick with the scent of ancient herbs and mystery. Suddenly, a chilling voice echoed through the room. "Who dares disturb my sanctuary?" sending Alara's heart racing as she spun around in terror. Alara mustered all her courage and replied, "I seek the truth about your curse, for it has plagued our village for too long." The witch paused, her expression shifting from anger to intrigue as she revealed, "A curse is born from betrayal, and its roots run deeper than you realize." As the witch began to unveil the dark tale of sorrow and deceit, Alara felt a strange connection forming between them, as if their fates were intertwined. In the dimly lit theater, shadows danced as the audience settled into their seats, unaware that they were about to witness a tale woven from fear and the supernatural. As the curtain rose, a chilling breeze swept through the aisles, carrying whispers of a tragic love story that had been lost to time. At the center of the stage stood a beautiful, forlorn woman, her ethereal gown flowing as if caught in an unseen wind, her eyes filled with sorrow and longing. Suddenly, the lights flickered violently, plunging the theater into darkness, and with it came an eerie silence that heightened the tension in the air. Then a low, mournful wail echoed through the room, sending shivers down the spines of those present, as if the very spirit of the phantom had awakened. In that moment, the spirit revealed its tragic story, a love thwarted by jealousy and betrayal, cascading through the ages like a haunting melody. As the tale unfolded, the theater began to tremble, vibrating with the weight of sorrow and rage, the audience entranced, yet terrified by the unfolding drama. With a final heart-wrenching cry, the spirit reached out to the audience, begging for release from its eternal torment, each word resonating with despair. In the stillness of the night, a soft whisper floated through the air, sending shivers down the spine of anyone who dared to listen. As the clock struck midnight, a chilling breeze swept through the empty halls, echoing tales of those who once called this place home. Suddenly, the sound of footsteps reverberated from above, though no living soul was present to make them. With every creak of the floorboards, the air thickened, as if the very atmosphere held its breath in anticipation of the unknown. Then a cold, clammy hand brushed past her shoulder, leaving her heart racing and her mind questioning reality. In a panic, she turned to face the darkness, her breath visible in the chilling air, searching for the source of the haunting touch. As her courage faltered, a soft, sorrowful moan resonated through the walls, revealing the ghost's longing for something lost long ago. With newfound resolve, she stepped forward, determined to uncover the tragic story hidden within the whispers of the house. As she read the faded words, a tale of love and betrayal unfolded, intertwining the fates of the living and the dead. Suddenly, the temperature dropped, and a spectral figure materialized before her, eyes filled with both sorrow and desperation. In the heart of a forgotten village, whispers of a malevolent spirit known as the Dark Legend haunted the townsfolk. Every full moon, it was said that the spirit would emerge from the shadows seeking its next victim. One fateful night, a brave young girl named Eliza decided to uncover the truth behind the legend. As she ventured deeper into the woods, the air grew colder, and an unsettling silence enveloped her. Suddenly, a chilling whisper echoed through the trees, calling her name in a voice both familiar and terrifying. Determined to confront the source, Eliza pressed on, heart pounding as the whispers grew louder, almost forming a chant. At the center of the woods, she stumbled upon an ancient stone altar, draped in dark vines and pulsing with an eerie glow. As she approached the altar, the air crackled with energy, and the whispers transformed into anguished cries begging for release. In that moment, Eliza realized that the Dark Legend was not merely a spirit, but the embodiment of the village's buried secrets and sorrows. Gathering her courage, Eliza called out to the spirit, vowing to help it find peace and lift the curse that plagued her village. In a small, fog-laden village, an ancient legend whispered of a cursed sword that could grant unimaginable power at a terrible price. One fateful night, a wandering traveler named Cedric stumbled upon the sword while seeking shelter in an abandoned castle. As he gripped the hilt, a chilling voice echoed through the chamber, warning him of the sword's dark history and the souls it had claimed. Ignoring the warning, Cedric made the fateful choice to draw the sword from its resting place, feeling an intoxicating rush of power surge through him. Suddenly, the castle trembled as flickering shadows began to emerge, revealing the tortured souls of those who had wielded the sword before him. Realizing his grave mistake, Cedric attempted to return the sword, but the grip of its dark magic held him tightly in its grasp. As the spirits wailed, pleading for release, Cedric felt their despair seeping into his very soul, forcing him to confront the consequences of his ambition. Desperate for a way out, he remembered the legend spoke of a ritual that could free both himself and the trapped souls, but it required an immense sacrifice. With trembling hands, Cedric began to chant the incantation, feeling the sword's power resist him as it fought to hold onto its chosen wielder.
As the night grew darker, a chilling wind swept through the old creaking house, carrying whispers of forgotten tales. In the corner of the dimly lit room, a shadow began to stretch and shift, seemingly alive with a mind of its own. Suddenly, a cold gust of air swept by, and the shadow morphed into the ghostly figure of a woman, her face pale and sorrowful. The ghostly woman raised her hand, pointing towards an old dusty portrait hanging on the wall, her expression filled with longing and despair. As the child gazed at the portrait, a loud crash echoed from the kitchen, breaking the heavy silence and sending shivers down their spine. With trembling legs, The child mustered the courage to step into the kitchen, only to find the air thick with an unsettling presence. Suddenly the lights flickered and revealed the ghostly woman standing directly behind the child, her eyes filled with an urgency that felt both desperate and tragic. In a whisper barely audible over the sound of their pounding heart, the ghost implored the child to follow her promising answers to the mystery that bound her to this world. في قرية صغيرة كان هناك بحيرة غامضة يقال إنها تسكنها أرواح ضائعة تبحث عن الانتقام. كانت المياه داكنة وساكنة، لكن هناك من يشعر بوجود شيء ما تحت سطحها. رغم التحذيرات، قرر مجموعة من الأصدقاء استكشاف البحيرة في ليلة عاصفة. بينما كانوا يتقدمون نحو المياه، سمعوا همسات غامضة تتردد في الهواء، كأنها تناديهم.
As the old mansion creaked under the weight of time, a chilling breeze swept through the dusty halls, hinting at the ghostly presence within. Whispers filled the air, echoing the vengeful thoughts of a spirit wronged in life seeking retribution against those who trespassed. As the clock struck midnight, a loud crash resonated from the attic, awakening the silence that had enveloped the house. Gathering their courage, the group of friends decided to investigate the source of the disturbance, each step echoing dread in their hearts. As they reached the attic, the air thickened with an overwhelming sense of despair, and a chilling voice whispered their names from the shadows. With trembling hands, one of them dared to call out, somehow believing they could reason with the vengeful spirit that had haunted the mansion for decades. Suddenly, the temperature dropped, and an icy breeze swirled around them, carrying with it a palpable sense of anger that made their skin crawl. Out of the darkness, the ghostly apparition emerged, its hollow eyes filled with sorrow and rage, a tragic figure seeking closure. With a voice that echoed like a distant thunderstorm, the ghost revealed the story of its betrayal, demanding they uncover the truth behind its torment. As the fog rolled in, covering the narrow trail with a suffocating shroud, a chilling silence descended upon the forest. Evelyn tightened her grip on the flickering lantern, its light barely piercing the thick gloom surrounding her. Each step she took echoed in the stillness as if the ground itself held its breath in anticipation of her next move. The distant howl of a lone wolf shattered the silence, sending shivers down her spine as she quickened her pace. Suddenly she spotted a figure lurking behind the trees, its silhouette barely discernible in the dim light. Heart pounding, Evelyn hesitated, debating whether to flee or confront the unknown presence that threatened her sanity. Before she could decide, the figure took a step forward, revealing sunken eyes that glimmered with an unsettling hunger. "Help me," it rasped, its voice a low whisper that sent chills racing through her veins. Despite her instincts screaming for her to run, curiosity tugged at Evelyn, urging her to step closer and listen. "I've been trapped here for centuries," the figure continued, its voice growing more desperate, "and only you can set me free." Torn between compassion and fear, Evelyn whispered, "What do you need from me?" As twilight descended over the village, a chilling fog rolled in, wrapping the cottages in an eerie embrace and casting long shadows across the cobblestone streets. The villagers whispered tales of a witch who lived on the outskirts, her presence both feared and shrouded in mystery. On a fateful night, a brave young woman named Clara decided to uncover the truth behind the legend, her heart pounding with both fear and determination. As she ventured deeper into the woods, the air grew colder, and the trees seemed to whisper secrets of their own. Suddenly, Clara stumbled upon an ancient cottage, its windows dark, and its door slightly ajar, inviting yet foreboding. With a deep breath, she stepped inside, the wooden floorboards creaking beneath her weight, as dust motes danced in the faint moonlight. Inside, the air was thick with the scent of herbs, and something more unsettling, as if secrets brewed in every corner. Clara's curiosity tugged her forward, and she spotted a flickering candle illuminating a large leather-bound book on a rickety table. As she approached, the words seemed to shimmer and shift, drawing her in with an irresistible allure of forbidden knowledge. In the shadowy depths of the ancient forest, a chilling fog creeps along the ground, whispering secrets of the cursed enchanted blade. Legends speak of a blade forged from the essence of lost souls, its gleam both beautiful and malevolent. One fateful night, a weary traveler stumbles upon the blade, drawn to its allure, despite the warnings etched into the stone nearby. Ignoring the spine-chilling warnings, he grasps the hilt, unleashing a surge of dark energy that awakens the vengeful spirits trapped within. As the spirits flood his mind with tormenting visions of their tragic pasts, the traveler realizes he has awakened an ancient curse. Desperate to break free from their grasp, he plunges the cursed blade into the earth, hoping to appease the restless souls. But the ground trembles violently, and a sinister laughter echoes through the trees, signaling that the curse is far from over. In a frantic bid for survival, he races deeper into the forest, the malicious spirits in hot pursuit, their wails growing louder with each passing moment. As he stumbles upon an ancient altar adorned with forgotten relics, he senses a flicker of hope amidst the encroaching darkness. In the heart of a shadowy, dilapidated mansion, a chilling legend whispered through the halls, warning of a vengeful spirit known only as the Phantom. As the clock struck midnight, a sense of dread filled the air, the very walls seeming to pulse with the spirit's restless energy. Drawn by an inexplicable force, a young woman named Clara ventured deeper into the mansion, her heart racing with both fear and curiosity. Suddenly, a cold breeze swept past her, carrying with it the faint sound of mournful whispers that echoed through the empty rooms. Clara felt a chill run down her spine as she caught sight of flickering lights in the distance beckoning her to follow, despite the warning buried deep in her instincts. As she approached the source of the lights, a figure suddenly appeared before her, cloaked in tattered garments and exuding an air of sorrowful malevolence. The Phantom's hollow eyes bore into Clara's soul, revealing the anguish of a life cut short and a desperate need for vengeance. "Why have you come here?" The Phantom's voice echoed a blend of sorrow and rage that sent shivers down Clara's spine. In a desolate village, whispers of an ancient witch's curse lingered in the fog that enveloped the crumbling cottages. One stormy night, a curious young woman named Eliza decided to uncover the truth behind the rumors that haunted her home. As she ventured deeper into the woods, the air grew cold, and the trees whispered secrets of the past, beckoning her closer to the witch's lair. Suddenly, a chilling laugh echoed through the trees, causing Eliza's heart to race as she realized she was not alone. Determined to confront her fears, Eliza pressed on her resolve, strengthened by the stories of those who had vanished in search of the witch's fortune. At the heart of the woods, she stumbled upon a decrepit cottage, its windows shattered and door hanging ajar, exuding an ominous aura that sent shivers down her spine. As she stepped inside, the air grew thick with the scent of herbs and decay, and a sense of foreboding wrapped around her like a shroud. In the corner, an ancient grimoire lay open, its pages filled with arcane symbols and warnings drawing Eliza closer, despite her instincts telling her to flee. As she read the incantations aloud, a sudden gust of wind slammed the door shut, trapping her in the witch's lair with a palpable tension in the air. "Who dares summon me?" It hissed, its voice like nails on a chalkboard. Tom, mustering his courage, spoke up. "We seek power to change our fate." The figure laughed, a chilling sound that sent shivers down their spines. "Power comes at a price," it said. "Are you willing to pay it?" The friends exchanged nervous glances, but nodded in unison. "Yes," they replied. The figure raised a bony hand and pointed at Jack. "You first." Jack stepped forward, his heart pounding in his chest. The figure reached out and touched his forehead, and Jack screamed in agony. A dark energy surged through him, and he fell to the ground convulsing. "Jack, hold on!" Tom shouted, his voice breaking with panic. The figure observed them with a twisted smile, relishing their fear. Suddenly, the dark energy began to ebb, and Jack gasped for breath. "What's happening to me?" Jack croaked, his voice barely above a whisper. The figure leaned closer, its voice dripping with malevolence. "You've been chosen to bear the burden of that power." Tom stepped forward defiantly, determination replacing his fear. "We won't let you control." Jack stepped forward, his heart pounding in his chest. The figure reached out and touched his forehead, and Jack screamed in agony. A dark energy surged through him, and he fell to the ground, convulsing. When the figure withdrew its hand, Jack lay still, his eyes wide open but lifeless. The friends recoiled in horror, realizing too late the true cost of the ritual. One by one, the figure claimed its price. Sarah, Ethan, and Laura met the same fate as Jack, their souls consumed by the dark energy. Tom was the last to face the figure, but as it reached out to him, a sudden burst of light filled the room. The church doors burst open, and an elderly woman stood in the doorway holding a talisman that glowed with a golden light. It was Sarah's grandmother, a woman well versed in the old ways. With a commanding voice, she called forth ancient words that resonated with power, aiming to confront the dark entity. The dark energy recoiled, as if it could feel the weight of her presence and the strength of her talisman. With each incantation, the golden light intensified, pushing back against the darkness that had claimed her family. Suddenly, a crack echoed through the air as the talisman unleashed a wave of energy that shattered the malevolent force. The figure recoiled, its form dissolving into shadows as it was banished by the talisman's light. But it was too late for Sarah, Ethan, Laura, and Jack. Tom, the sole survivor, wept as Sarah's grandmother gently placed a hand on his shoulder. "Some powers are not meant to be tampered with," she said softly. "Remember this night, and let their sacrifice be a lesson to us all. And so the legend of the dark ritual lived on a cautionary tale that reminded the villagers of the price of forbidden knowledge and the dangers of seeking power at any cost. The villagers whispered about the night, their voices tinged with fear and reverence. They vowed to honor the memory of their lost friends, promising to be vigilant against the temptations of power. As the years passed, the tale transformed into a legend passed down through generations. Yet whispers of those who sought forbidden knowledge began to re-emerge, tempting the curious and the brave. One fateful night, a group of daring villagers decided to uncover the truth behind the legend. Their hearts raced with both fear and excitement as they approached the site of the old ritual. As they examined the symbols, a chilling wind swept through the clearing, whispering secrets of the past. "Just say the word and I will be there for you no matter the odds." But Tom, driven by his own desperation, urged them on. "We have nothing to lose. Let's do it." With a sense of foreboding, they began to prepare for the ritual. They drew a large pentagram on the floor with chalk, placed black candles at each point, and chanted the incantations from the book. As the storm raged outside, the air inside the church grew heavy with an oppressive presence. As they reached the climax of the ritual, the temperature plummeted, and the candles flickered out. A deafening silence enveloped them, broken only by the sound of their own breathing. Then from the shadows, a low guttural growl echoed through the room. A figure emerged from the darkness, its eyes glowing with an eerie, malevolent light. It was tall and cloaked in a tattered robe, its face hidden beneath a hood. The friends trembled as the figure stepped closer, its presence radiating pure evil. In that moment, uncertainty turned to panic as they realized they had summoned something beyond their understanding. Tom, heart racing, knew they had to confront the darkness or risk being consumed by it.
With a shaky voice, Tom shouted, "We take back our power! You have no hold over us!"
In the heart of the secluded village of Ravenswood, an ancient legend whispered through the ages spoke of a dark ritual that, when performed, could summon unimaginable power. The villagers knew better than to tamper with the old ways, but curiosity and desperation often led to dangerous paths. One stormy night, a group of 5 friends, Tom, Sarah, Ethan, Laura, and Jack, gathered in the old church on the outskirts of town. Their lives had been marred by misfortune, and they longed for a way to change their fate. As they huddled around a flickering candle, Sarah produced an old leather-bound book she had found in her grandmother's attic. Its pages were filled with strange symbols and dark incantations. The dark ritual, she whispered, her voice trembling with both fear and excitement. "It says here that it can grant us the power we need to change our lives." Ethan, the skeptic of the group, frowned. "Are you sure about this, Sarah? It sounds dangerous." Sarah took a deep breath, her resolve strengthening despite Ethan's doubts. "We've tried everything else and nothing has worked," she argued, her voice steady. Laura, with wide eyes, chimed in. "What if this is our chance to finally take control of our lives?" En el corazón de la aldea aislada de Ravenswood, una antigua leyenda susurrada a través de las edades hablaba de un ritual oscuro que, cuando se realizaba, podía invocar un poder inimaginable. Una noche tormentosa, un grupo de 5 amigos, Tom, Sarah, Ethan, Laura y Jack, se reunió en la vieja iglesia a las afueras del pueblo. Sus vidas habían estado marcadas por la desgracia y anhelaban encontrar una manera de cambiar su destino. Mientras se arremolinaban alrededor de una vela titilante, Sarah sacó un viejo libro encuadernado en cuero que había encontrado en el ático de su abuela. Las páginas estaban llenas de símbolos extraños e invocaciones oscuras. "El ritual oscuro", susurró su voz temblando de miedo y emoción. "Dice aquí que puede otorgarnos el poder que necesitamos para cambiar nuestras vidas." Ethan, el escéptico del grupo, frunció el ceño. "¿Estás seguro de esto, Sarah?" "Suena peligroso", dijo Ethan con desconfianza. Pero Tom, impulsado por su propia desesperación, los instó a seguir adelante. "No tenemos nada que perder. Hagámoslo", exclamó Tom con fervor. In the grand hall, they stumbled upon a large, ornate mirror, its glass cracked and tarnished. Emily couldn't resist the urge to take a closer look. As she peered into the mirror, a ghostly figure appeared behind her, an apparition of a woman dressed in tattered, old-fashioned clothing. Her eyes were hollow, and her face was twisted with sorrow and rage. Before Emily could react, the ghost reached out and touched her shoulder. A cold, searing pain shot through her body, and she collapsed to the floor, gasping for breath. James rushed to her side, but it was too late. Emily's eyes glazed over, and she lay still. The ghost's curse had claimed another victim. James, stricken with grief and fear, dragged Emily's lifeless body out of the manor. As he fled, the ghost's mournful wail echoed through the night, a chilling reminder of the curse that haunted Blackthorn House. In the days that followed, James fell into a deep depression. He couldn't escape the memory of the ghost's icy touch and Emily's tragic fate. One night, unable to bear the guilt any longer, he returned to the manor determined to confront the ghost and break the curse. As he stepped inside, the temperature plummeted and an unnatural darkness enveloped him. The ghost appeared once more, her eyes burning with a malevolent fire. "Why have you returned?" she hissed. "I want to end this," James replied, his voice trembling. "Tell me how to break the curse." The ghost's expression softened, and she began to weep. "I was once the mistress of this house," she explained. "Betrayed and murdered by my own husband. My soul cannot find peace until justice is served." James knew what he had to do. He spent months researching the history of Blackthorn House, uncovering the truth behind the ghost's tragic fate. With the help of the villagers, he exposed the crimes of the long-dead husband and cleared the ghost's name. The atmosphere shifted as the ghost began to fade, a faint smile gracing her lips. "Thank you," she whispered, her voice echoing in the stillness. As the final piece of the puzzle fell into place, James returned to the manor one last time. The ghost appeared before him, her expression no longer twisted with rage, but with gratitude. "Thank you," she whispered. "You have freed me." With those words, the ghost faded away, and the oppressive darkness lifted from the manor. The curse was finally broken, and Blackthorn House was at peace once more. James, though, forever haunted by the memory of Emily, found solace in knowing that he had ended the suffering of the restless spirit. And the legend of the ghost's curse became a tale of redemption and forgiveness passed down through the generations. The end. See you. The story of James and the ghost would linger in the hearts of those who heard it, sparking both fear and fascination. Though time would weather the manor, its walls would forever hold the echoes of the past. New families would move in unaware of the manor's haunted history, yet feeling its lingering presence. Deep in the heart of the countryside stood a crumbling manor known to the locals as Blackthorn House. It had been abandoned for decades, its once grand halls now filled with decay and darkness. The villagers whispered tales of a vengeful ghost that haunted the place, cursing anyone who dared to enter. One fateful evening, a young couple named James and Emily arrived in the village. Fascinated by the legends of Blackthorn House, they decided to explore the manor, ignoring the warnings of the fearful villagers. Armed with flashlights and a sense of adventure, they made their way to the mansion as the sun dipped below the horizon. As they approached the entrance, a chilling wind swept through the air and the old wooden door creaked open on its own. Undeterred, James and Emily stepped inside their flashlights, casting eerie beams of light on the decaying walls and cobweb-covered furniture. The air was thick with the scent of mold and dust, and every creak of the floorboards echoed through the empty rooms. They ventured deeper into the manor, their excitement tinged with an increasing sense of unease. Suddenly, a distant whisper echoed through the halls, sending chills down their spine. In a dimly lit attic, a dusty ornate ring lay forgotten among the cobwebs, its surface glinting ominously in the faint light. As Sarah stumbled upon the ring, an unsettling chill ran down her spine, compelling her to pick it up despite the foreboding feeling. The moment she slipped the ring onto her finger, an inexplicable surge of energy coursed through her body, awakening something deep within the shadows. Suddenly whispers echoed in her mind, cryptic and chilling, warning her of the ancient curse tied to the enchantment of the ring. Determined to uncover the truth, Sarah delved into her family's history, discovering a long-buried secret involving the ring and a vengeful spirit. As the night grew darker, the whispers intensified, urging her to release the ring or face the impending wrath of the spirit bound to it. In a moment of desperation, Sarah decided to confront the spirit, seeking a way to break the curse and free herself from the ring's malevolent grasp. In the shadowy corners of the decaying mansion, an ancient prophecy whispered through the walls, hinting at a dark fate that awaited those who dared to uncover its secrets. As the clock struck midnight, a chilling wind swept through the halls, carrying with it the faint echoes of lost souls seeking vengeance. Among the shadows, a figure cloaked in darkness emerged, their eyes glowing with an unnatural light as they began to recite the haunting lines of the prophecy. The air thickened with tension as the haunting words called forth spirits, long forgotten their whispers, filling the room with dread and despair. Suddenly the ground trembled beneath them, and the walls began to bleed shadows, as if the very mansion itself was coming alive in response to the prophecy. In the heart of the chaos, a young woman stepped forward, her resolve steeling as she vowed to confront the darkness that threatened to consume them all. In a dark and twisted forest, the air thick with mystery, an old witch stirred her cauldron, the bubbling liquid reflecting her sinister intentions. Her long, bony fingers danced over the herbs and bones lying scattered around her, carefully selecting each ingredient for her potent potion. As she whispered incantations, in a language long forgotten, The potion began to shimmer, casting eerie shadows that flickered against the trees. Suddenly, a chilling wind blew through the forest, carrying with it the cries of lost souls, echoing her dark magic. With a sinister smile, the witch filled a small vial with her potion, knowing it held the power to curse anyone who dared cross her path. Just then, a brave villager approached the witch's lair, heart-pounding, determined to confront her and save his cursed loved ones. Elias fell to his knees, exhausted, but free. The weight of his struggles finally lifted from his weary shoulders. The darkness that had plagued him for so long was lifted, and he felt a newfound sense of peace wash over him. As dawn broke, and the first rays of sunlight pierced the forest canopy, Elias rose to his feet, rejuvenated and resolute. Elias made his way back to the village, each step feeling lighter than the last as he embraced his newfound freedom. The villagers would never know the full extent of his sacrifice, but in his heart, Elias carried the weight of his journey. Yet Elias was content, for he had faced his demons and emerged victorious against the shadows of his past. His soul was no longer darkened but filled with light and hope, a testament to the battles he had fought within. Elias took a deep breath, feeling the warmth of the sun on his skin, reminding him that he was alive and free to forge his own path. Trembling, Elias approached the altar, his hands hovering over the book. The temptation was overwhelming, but he knew the darkness would only bring more suffering. In a moment of clarity, he made a fateful decision. With a cry of defiance, Elias summoned all his remaining strength and cast the tome into the depths of the forest. The ground shook, and a blinding light erupted from the altar, consuming the book and the shadows that haunted him. The malevolent force that had bound his soul was finally vanquished. As the last echoes of darkness faded away, a profound sense of peace settled over him. Elias knew that he had reclaimed his life free from the chains of despair. With each step away from the altar, he felt lighter, as if the weight of the world had been lifted from his shoulders. The whispers of the forest welcomed him back, a symphony of life surrounding his every move. Elias began to understand that true strength lay not in power, but in the courage to choose light over darkness. Fleeing from the chaos he had wrought, Elias sought refuge in the village, hoping to atone for his sins by helping others. Despite his efforts, the darkness within him lingered, manifesting in haunting nightmares and an ever-present shadow that followed him wherever he went. One night, as the village slept under a moonless sky, Elias heard a faint whisper calling his name. The voice was familiar, yet filled with malice. It led him to the edge of the village, where the trees stood like sentinels guarding a hidden path. Unable to resist, Elias followed the voice deeper into the forest. The path wound through twisted trees and tangled roots, eventually leading him to a clearing bathed in an eerie glow. In the center stood a stone altar, and upon it lay the ancient tome he had once coveted. The voice spoke again, urging him to reclaim the power he had forsaken. In that moment, Elias felt the weight of his past choices pressing down on him, battling against the allure of the promised power. As the wind howled through the trees, he grappled with a decision that could alter his fate forever. With a deep breath, Elias reached out, feeling the cold surface of the tome beneath his fingertips, awakening memories of his past ambitions. In a remote village surrounded by dense woods and veiled in eternal twilight lived a man named Elias. He was known as the village's healer, a man with profound knowledge of herbs and remedies. However, Elias carried a heavy burden, a darkness that tainted his soul and shrouded his past. Years ago, Elias had been a bright and passionate scholar in the bustling city of Arendelle. His quest for knowledge had led him to an ancient forbidden tome hidden in the depths of the Grand Library. The book spoke of powerful spells and dark rituals promising unimaginable power to those who dared to invoke them. Driven by curiosity and ambition, Elias began to experiment with the dark arts. At first he marveled at the newfound abilities that coursed through his veins. But with power came a price he paid dearly. The final ritual he performed went horribly wrong, unleashing a malevolent force that consumed his soul and left him scarred both physically and spiritually. From that day forward, Elias vowed to atone for his mistakes and dedicated his life to healing others. Ethan courted danger as he ran stumbling through the oppressive darkness, feeling an eerie presence close behind him. A final push from an unseen force sent him crashing through a boarded-up window, splintering wood and glass as he tumbled into the unknown. He landed outside, gasping for breath, as he looked back at the house that stood silent once more, its windows unbroken, its walls intact, as if he had never been inside. Shaking, Ethan scrambled to his feet and fled, propelled by fear that urged him to leave the past behind. He never spoke of that night again, sealing the memory away like a dark secret he dared not share. But every time he passed Blackwood Manor, he swore he saw a shadow watching him, whispering a warning meant for someone else. The chill of those moments lingered in his mind, a reminder that some shadows are never truly left behind. Haunted by the memories, Ethan found himself drawn to the manor, an inexplicable pull that tugged at his very core. Ethan had always been a skeptic, dismissing ghost stories as mere fabrications of the imagination. The abandoned house stood at the edge of town, its windows shattered, its walls covered in ivy. Rumors swirled about a spirit that warned intruders to leave or face the consequences. Ethan, ever the thrill-seeker, decided to prove the legend wrong. Armed with a flashlight and his phone for recording, he stepped inside. The air was thick with dust, and the floor creaked beneath his weight. He wandered through the decayed halls, finding nothing but broken furniture and peeling wallpaper. Then he heard it, a whisper soft and urgent. "Leave now." Ethan froze. His breath hitched. "Who's there?" he called, forcing a laugh. A shadow moved at the end of the hall. His flashlight flickered. The whisper came again, this time louder. "Leave, before it's too late." A chill ran down his spine. He turned to leave, but the door he entered through was gone. Only a wall remained. Panic set in. The whisper became a wail, then a scream. The walls trembled. "You were warned." Ethan ran stumbling through the dark. In a small forgotten village steeped in legends, a young girl named Clara stumbles upon an intricately crafted necklace, glowing faintly beneath the roots of an ancient oak tree. As Clara lifts the necklace from the earth, she feels an inexplicable pull, as if the very essence of the necklace is beckoning her closer. Ignoring the cautious whisper of the villagers warning her of its dark history, Clara places the necklace around her neck, feeling a rush of power surge through her. As night falls, strange visions begin to torment her. Spectral figures and haunting whispers urging her to uncover the necklace's terrible secret. Desperate to rid herself of the necklace's grip, Clara seeks the wisdom of the village elder, who reveals the tragic fate of those who had worn it before her. But as Clara listens, the necklace tightens around her neck, a chilling reminder that its dark magic is not easily escaped. In the eerie silence of the abandoned theater, a chill ran down Sarah's spine as she felt a presence lurking in the shadows. As she stepped further inside, the sound of distant whispers filled the air, echoing memories long forgotten. Suddenly, the ghostly figure emerged from the shadows, revealing a tragic visage that seemed both familiar and haunting. "Help me." The figure whispered, her voice a haunting melody that reverberated through the empty seats. Conflicted between fear and compassion, Sarah hesitated, feeling an inexplicable connection to the sorrowful spirit. Gathering her courage, Sarah approached the spirit, determined to uncover the tragic story buried within these haunted walls. As she spoke softly, asking the spirit what had happened to her, the air grew heavy with unspoken sorrow. On a stormy night, a desperate traveler stumbled upon an ancient, decrepit cottage hidden deep within the forest. As he knocked on the door, it creaked open to reveal a mysterious figure cloaked in shadows, her eyes glinting with an unnatural light. "Welcome, traveler," she whispered, her voice like cold steel. "I have a gift that can change your fate." Intrigued yet wary, the traveler stepped inside, feeling an unsettling chill envelop him as the door slammed shut behind him. The witch gestured towards a table cluttered with strange potions and arcane symbols, her smile both inviting and sinister. "Choose wisely," she warned, her tone dripping with a mix of allure and danger, for not all gifts come without a price. After a moment of hesitation, he reached for a shimmering vial filled with a radiant liquid that promised power beyond his wildest dreams. As the sun dipped below the horizon, an eerie fog rolled in, enveloping the old winding road that lay ahead. Whispers danced through the mist, carrying unsettling secrets that seemed to echo from the very depths of the forest. With each step further down the path, an inexplicable chill crept up her spine, warning her of a presence lurking just out of sight. Suddenly, a low growl reverberated through the air, freezing her in place as fear gripped her heart. Panic surged within her as she turned to flee, the sound of heavy footsteps pounding behind her like a relentless heartbeat. As she dashed forward, her breath quickened the darkness, closing in as if it were alive and hungry for her. Just when she thought escape was impossible, she glimpsed a flickering light in the distance, a beacon of hope amid the suffocating gloom. With renewed determination, she sprinted toward the light, praying it would lead her to safety and free her from the terror behind. In the heart of a forgotten town nestled between gnarled trees lay an ancient cemetery shrouded in mist and mystery. Legend had it that every night at midnight the spirits of the restless departed would rise to unveil secrets long buried beneath the earth. Curiosity consumed a group of daring teenagers who decided to unveil the truth behind the legend on the eve of a storm. With flashlights in hand, they cautiously stepped onto the overgrown path, the chill of the night air prickling their skin. As they approached a particularly ancient grave marked by twisted vines, and unsettling whispers seemed to echo through the air, beckoning them closer. One of the teenagers, driven by a mix of bravery and folly, reached out to touch the cold stone, igniting a surge of dark energy that sent shivers down their spines. Suddenly, the ground beneath them trembled, and ghostly figures began to rise from their graves, their mournful wails echoing in the night. In a dark moonlit forest, a young girl named Alara discovers an ancient amulet hidden beneath the roots of a gnarled tree. As she lifts the amulet, a chilling wind sweeps through the trees, sending shivers down her spine. Ignoring the warning signs, Alara puts the amulet around her neck, feeling an overwhelming surge of power. Suddenly, whispers fill the air, calling her name in a haunting melody that sends chills down her spine. Compelled by a strange force, Alara ventures deeper into the woods, where the shadows writhe and pulsate around her. As the whispers grow louder, they reveal dark secrets of the amulet's past, warning her of the curse it carries. With each step, the ground beneath her begins to tremble, shaking loose the very roots of the forest itself. Panicking, Alara realizes that she must return the amulet to its resting place before the forest consumes her completely. In the heart of a desolate village, an ominous fog rolled in, concealing secrets that whispered through the night. As the clock struck midnight, a chilling cry echoed through the air, sending shivers down the spines of those brave enough to listen. Legends spoke of a phantom that roamed these streets, seeking vengeance for a past shrouded in betrayal and sorrow. One fateful evening, a curious young girl named Eliza decided to uncover the truth behind the phantom's legend. With each step deeper into the mist, Eliza's heart raced, aware that she was not alone in the shadows. Suddenly the air thickened with a sorrowful wail, and Eliza felt an icy chill envelop her as the phantom emerged from the gloom. In that moment, the phantom's tragic story spilled forth, revealing the betrayal that had bound it to this world for eternity. Moved by the spirit's tale, Eliza vowed to help the phantom find peace and put an end to its haunting cries. In the dense forest, the whispers of the trees carried tales of a vengeful witch who had been wronged long ago. As the villagers spoke in hushed tones, they warned each other not to venture too close to her cursed dwelling. One fateful night, a brave young girl named Alara decided to uncover the truth behind the witch's dark legend. As Alara approached the witch's cottage, the air grew colder, and an unsettling silence enveloped her. Pushing the door open, she was met with a wave of musty air and the sight of strange potions bubbling ominously in dark cauldrons. Suddenly, a low cackle echoed from the shadows, causing Alara to freeze in her tracks, heart pounding in her chest. "Why have you come, child?" The witch hissed, her voice laced with malice and curiosity, as she stepped into the flickering light. With a trembling voice, Alara declared that she sought to break the curse that had plagued her village for years. In the quaint village of Hollow Creek, an unsettling legend whispered through the shadows, speaking of a heart so dark it could consume the very soul of anyone who dared to seek it. Many believed it was merely a tale to scare children, yet the disappearance of several villagers lent an air of chilling authenticity to the story. One stormy night, a brave young woman named Alara, determined to uncover the truth, ventured into the heart of the cursed woods. As the wind howled around her, Alara felt an inexplicable pull, guiding her deeper into the shadows where the air grew thick with malevolence. Suddenly she stumbled upon an ancient clearing where a grotesque altar stood, adorned with remnants of those who had fallen victim to the darkened heart. In the center of the altar lay the darkened heart, pulsating ominously, its rhythm echoing like a sinister drum in the depths of her mind. In the heart of the old manor, whispers of a lingering spirit weave through the shadows, chilling the bones of anyone who dares to listen. Once a beloved resident, the ghost of Lady Eleanor roams these halls, forever searching for the lost love that slipped through her fingers. Every night, the sound of her melancholic sobs echoes a haunting melody that draws the curious and the brave into her tragic tale. Adventurous souls, lured by the legend, seek to uncover the mystery, unaware of the danger that lurks within the walls. As the clock strikes midnight, a sudden chill fills the air, and the ghostly essence of Lady Eleanor begins to manifest before their very eyes. With a voice that echoes like the rustling of leaves, she recounts the heartbreak that binds her to this realm, her eyes filled with sorrow. Her tale speaks of betrayal and lost promises, a love that once brought her joy, but ended in a tragedy that sealed her fate. The ancient library, shrouded in dust and darkness, held a secret that whispered to those brave enough to enter its depths. As the clock struck midnight, an eerie glow emanated from a thick leather-bound tome that seemed to beckon her closer. With trembling hands, she reached for the book, feeling a surge of cold air as the pages began to turn on their own. Each word she read out loud twisted reality, pulling her deeper into a world where shadows danced and nightmares came alive. Suddenly, a chilling voice echoed through the library, warning her that not all stories end with a happy ending. Realizing she had awakened something ancient and powerful, panic surged through her as the ground trembled beneath her feet. Desperate to escape, she slammed the book shut, but the whispering voices only grew louder, demanding her to return. Summoning her courage, she shouted a counter-curse, hoping to silence the voices and seal away the darkness once and for all. In the heart of an ancient forest, a lake lay undisturbed, shrouded in mist and mystery. Locals called it the Whispering Lake, for the wind seemed to carry voices across its still waters. Legend had it that the lake was cursed, a place where the boundary between the living and the dead blurred. One chilly autumn evening, a young woman named Alara, fascinated by the tales, decided to visit the lake. As she approached, the air grew colder, and a sense of unease settled over her. The sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows that danced eerily among the trees. Alara stood at the water's edge, her breath visible in the crisp air. The lake was perfectly still, its surface like a black mirror reflecting the rising moon. As she leaned closer, her reflection wavered, and she heard it. The faintest whisper, like a sigh, carried on the breeze. Alara. Her name unmistakably spoken sent a shiver down her spine. She looked around, but she was alone. The whisper came again, more insistent this time, calling her to the water. Against her better judgment, she took a step into the icy shallows. The whispers grew louder, a cacophony of lost voices swirling around her. Alara felt an irresistible pull urging her deeper into the lake. Her heart pounded as the water rose to her knees, then her waist. Suddenly she saw them. Faces beneath the water's surface, pale and ghostly, their eyes pleading. They reached for her with translucent hands, their whispers now a desperate cry for help. Terrified, Alara stumbled back, breaking their hold. She scrambled to the shore, her heart racing as the whispers faded into the night. Breathless and shaken, she vowed never to return. But as she fled, one haunting truth lingered in her mind. The voices of the lake were real, and they would never stop calling her back. The air grew thick with an unshakable sense of dread, and Alara knew she could never truly escape. In her dreams, the whispers returned, echoing through the silence like a haunting melody. With each passing night, the pull of the lake grew stronger, as if it were a siren luring her back to its depths. Desperate to silence the voices, Alara sought answers from the townsfolk who lived nearby. Deep in the heart of the abandoned mansion, legends whispered of a maze that led to the unknown, filled with shadows and echoes of the past. Many who dared to enter never returned, their fates forever intertwined with the phantom that roamed its eerie halls. One stormy night, a curious traveler named Laura decided to uncover the truth behind the maze and its chilling legend. As she stepped inside, the heavy door creaked ominously, sealing her fate within the maze's grasp. With each turn she took, the walls seemed to shift, disorienting her and amplifying the sense of being watched. Suddenly, a chilling whisper echoed through the maze, calling her name with a sorrowful tone that sent shivers down her spine. Heart racing, Laura followed the voice, drawn deeper into the maze as if it held the key to unraveling its secrets. At last she stumbled upon a grand chamber at the maze's center, where time seemed to stand still, and echoes of the past vibrated in the air. In the heart of the cursed forest, a chilling fog rolled in, weaving through the twisted trees like a sinister whisper. Legend spoke of a witch who roamed these woods, her veil said to ensnare the souls of the unwary. One fateful evening, a group of friends ventured into the forest, laughter echoing in the stillness as they dismissed the warnings. As the sun dipped below the horizon, an unsettling silence descended, swallowing their laughter and replacing it with a mounting dread. Suddenly, a chilling breeze swept through the trees, carrying with it a whisper that seemed to call their names. Panic set in as they realized they were no longer alone. A figure in a tattered veil emerged from the mist, her presence freezing them in place. The witch's voice, like the crackling of dry leaves, echoed through the air as she beckoned them closer with a bony finger. In the heart of a fog-covered village, whispers of an ancient curse echoed through the cobblestone streets, sending shivers down the spines of its inhabitants. As the clock struck midnight, a chilling breeze swept through, carrying with it the faint sound of a mournful wail that seemed to come from nowhere and everywhere at once. Drawn by an inexplicable force, a young girl named Eliza ventured into the heart of the nearby forest, her flashlight flickering uncertainly in the oppressive darkness. As Eliza stepped deeper into the woods, she stumbled upon an ancient crumbling stone altar, overgrown with twisted vines and shrouded in an eerie silence. Suddenly, a cold gust of wind erupted from the altar, and the air grew thick with the scent of decay, causing Eliza's heart to race in her chest. In that moment, a shadowy figure emerged from the darkness, its hollow eyes fixated on Eliza, as if it were both pleading and threatening her very existence. As the sun dipped below the horizon, The cemetery became shrouded in an eerie twilight, the shadows stretching like dark fingers, reaching out from the gravestones. A chilling wind whispered through the air, carrying with it the faint echoes of voices long forgotten. Suddenly a figure emerged from the shadows cloaked in darkness, its presence sending shivers down the spine of anyone who dared to look. The apparition moved with an unsettling grace, gliding silently over the uneven ground, as if it were part of the night itself. A whisper echoed in the stillness, a warning carried on the wind that only the bravest dared to heed. As the shadows deepened, the air grew heavy with an unsettling tension, making each heartbeat feel like a drum, echoing in the silence. In the distance, a low moan resonated as if the very earth was mourning its lost souls, drawing the curious closer to the heart of darkness. In the heart of an abandoned coastal town, a thick fog rolled in, shrouding the crumbling structures in an eerie stillness. As the last rays of sunlight faded, a chilling sound echoed through the streets, the wavering cry of an unseen specter. A group of friends, drawn by the thrill of exploration, dared each other to venture deeper into the heart of the town. As they crossed the threshold of a long-abandoned tavern, the air turned icy, wrapping around them like a ghostly embrace. Suddenly, the door slammed shut behind them, echoing through the vast emptiness like a death knell. In the flickering light, they noticed strange symbols etched into the walls, pulsating with a sinister energy that seemed to beckon them closer. As a sudden chill swept through the room, a haunting whisper floated on the air, calling each of their names one by one. Panic surged, as they realized the whisper was not just a figment of their imagination, but a warning from the spirits trapped within the tavern's walls. The night sky was illuminated by the distant flickering glow of explosions, as Sarah crouched in the rubble of her former home heart, racing with fear and desperation. Every sound made her jump, from the crack of a fallen beam to the distant cries of those still trapped in the chaos. With a heavy heart, she recalled the peaceful days before the war, when laughter and warmth filled the air instead of the stench of fear. Determined to survive, Sarah took a deep breath and began to navigate her way through the maze of destruction, every step a reminder of what she had lost. Suddenly, the unmistakable sound of footsteps echoed through the silence, sending a jolt of panic through her veins as she pressed herself against the cold, crumbling wall. Heart pounding, Sarah strained to listen, hoping it was just the wind and not the enemy searching for survivors like her. In the dimly lit ballroom, a ghostly figure moves elegantly across the floor, casting an otherworldly glow that sends shivers down the spine of anyone who dares to watch. As the haunting melody plays, the specter twirls gracefully, its movements graceful yet unnerving, as if reliving a tragic moment from centuries past. Suddenly the music falters, and the room grows colder, causing the guests to exchange anxious glances, unsure of what might happen next. Without warning, the phantom locks eyes with a young woman at the edge of the room, drawing her into a trance that compels her to join its eerie dance. As she steps forward, the music swells again, enveloping her in a chilling embrace, and the other guests watch helplessly, caught between fear and fascination. With every twirl, the phantom reveals glimpses of a tragic past, the sorrow etched into its translucent features as it dances with a longing that transcends time. As night enveloped the black forest, an eerie silence descended, broken only by the rustle of leaves and distant whispers. A group of friends seeking adventure found themselves lost among the towering trees, their laughter fading into nervous chatter. Suddenly, a chilling howl echoed through the woods, sending shivers down their spines and halting their laughter. As they stumbled deeper into the forest, the air thickened with an unnatural dread, making it hard to breathe. Just then, they discovered an ancient abandoned cabin, its windows boarded up and doors slightly ajar, inviting yet foreboding. Against their better judgment, curiosity drew them inside, where darkness swallowed the light and cold air sent chills down their spines. In the corner, they spotted an old, tattered journal that seemed to whisper secrets of the forest's dark past. In a quiet village overshadowed by ancient trees, the whispered tales of a ghostly figure lingered in the air, captivating the imaginations of all who dared to listen. Legend spoke of a wronged spirit bound to the earthly realm by a betrayal that had occurred centuries ago, seeking vengeance against those who wronged her. One stormy night, a daring young woman named Eliza decided to confront the spirit, driven by her curiosity and a desire to uncover the truth behind the ghost's grudge. As Eliza ventured deeper into the woods, she felt an eerie chill caress her skin, each step echoing with the whispers of the past. Suddenly, she stumbled upon an ancient gravestone, its inscription barely legible, but hinting at a tragic love story intertwined with betrayal and sorrow. Eliza's heart raced as she realized that this tomb belonged to the very spirit haunting the village, igniting a spark of empathy within her. In the stillness of a moonlit night, a chilling roar echoed through the quiet woods, sending shivers down the spine of anyone who dared to listen. Panic ensued in the nearby village, as the villagers recounted stories of a creature that had been stalking them for weeks, leaving only destruction in its wake. As night fell, the air thickened with tension, and every rustle of leaves made their hearts race faster, each second feeling like an eternity. Suddenly, a piercing scream shattered the silence, and all heads turned towards the source, dread pooling in their stomachs. In a desperate bid for survival, the villagers armed themselves with whatever they could find, their resolve hardened by the urgency of the moment. As they ventured deeper into the woods, the haunting sounds of growls and howls surrounded them, each echo amplifying their fears and uncertainties. Under the blazing sun, the notorious pirate captain Edward Blackbeard scans the horizon from the crow's nest of his formidable ship, the Sea Serpent. With a raucous cheer, his crew celebrates the recent capture of a merchant vessel, their laughter mingling with the sound of crashing waves. Suddenly, a dark silhouette appears on the horizon, revealing the unmistakable shape of a naval ship approaching rapidly. Edward Blackbeard's heart races as he commands his crew to arm themselves, preparing for a fierce battle to protect their hard-won treasure. As cannonballs whiz through the air, the clash of steel rings out, echoing over the tumultuous waves, as pirates fight valiantly against the naval officers. In the heat of battle, Blackbeard spies a chance to turn the tide. He bravely leaps onto the enemy ship, rallying his men with an inspiring battle cry. As the sun set behind the jagged mountains, an eerie silence blanketed the small village, foretelling the darkness that would soon unfold. The villagers exchanged nervous glances, aware of the legends that spoke of a restless spirit haunting the woods. As night fell, a chilling wind whispered through the trees, carrying with it the faint sound of distant wailing. Braving their fears, a small group of friends decided to venture into the haunted woods, armed only with flashlights and shaky courage. Every crack of a branch underfoot sent shivers down their spines, amplifying the feeling that they were not alone in the darkness. Suddenly, a blood-curdling scream echoed through the trees, freezing them in place as their hearts raced with fear. With fear gripping their hearts, they turned to run, but the underbrush erupted with whispers, calling them back into the depths of the woods. As they stumbled deeper into the forest, the trees seemed to close in around them, their branches clawing at the sky like skeletal fingers. In a lush green jungle, an enormous elephant named Elmer was feeling unusually upset about the loud noises the playful animals were making around him. As Elmer stomped his feet in frustration, a tiny fluffy cat named Whiskers curiously approached him with wide, innocent eyes. Sensing Elmer's anger, Whiskers sat down and began to playfully swat at a nearby butterfly, trying to lighten the mood. Elmer couldn't help but chuckle as Whiskers tumbled over, chasing after the elusive butterfly with clumsy enthusiasm. With a newfound sense of joy, Elmer leaned down, gently nudging Whiskers with his trunk, and the two began to play together in the sun-dappled clearing. As their laughter echoed through the jungle, other animals began to gather, drawn in by the sight of the unlikely friendship blossoming before them. Elmer, once irritated, realized that the noise he had dreaded was now the joyful sound of laughter and play filling the air with happiness. In a dark and stormy night, a group of strangers arrives at the eerie house on Haunted Hill, drawn by the promise of a substantial reward. As the heavy doors creak open, the guests step inside, greeted by an unsettling silence that seems to envelop them. An ominous voice echoes through the hall, declaring the rules of the challenge: survive the night and claim the prize. As the night progresses, strange occurrences begin to unfold, from flickering lights to ghostly whispers that chill them to the bone. The group soon realizes that the house itself seems to have a life of its own, with hidden secrets waiting to be uncovered. Tensions rise as alliances form, and betrayals surface, each guest grappling with their own fears and suspicions about one another. Suddenly, a blood-curdling scream echoes through the hallways, sending everyone into a panic as they realize one of them has vanished. As twilight descended upon the village, an eerie mist crept into the enchanted garden, transforming it into a realm of shadows and whispers. The townsfolk spoke of a curse that plagued the garden, warning curious souls to stay away, lest they awaken its slumbering horrors. Despite the warnings, a brave young woman named Alara felt an irresistible pull towards the garden, driven by a mix of curiosity and defiance. As she stepped inside, a chill enveloped her, and the once vibrant flowers wilted under her gaze, revealing their sinister nature. Suddenly the air grew heavy with whispers, and Alara realized she was not alone. Unseen eyes watched her every move from the shadows. With every step deeper into the garden, the whispers intensified, intertwining with her thoughts, urging her to leave before it was too late. Just then, a chilling laughter echoed through the garden, sending shivers down Alara's spine and confirming her worst fears. On a stormy night, the villagers gathered in fear as a dark shadow loomed over their homes, a chilling sign of the witch's return. Legend spoke of a curse that bound the witch to the land, her malevolent spirit seeking vengeance for decades of persecution. As the clock struck midnight, the air turned frigid, and an eerie whisper echoed through the trees, warning them of the impending doom. Determined to break the curse, a brave young woman named Alara ventured into the woods, clutching a talisman rumored to hold the witch's power. With each step deeper into the woods, the whispers grew louder, swirling around her like a tempest, warning her of the witch's wrath. Suddenly the ground trembled beneath her feet, and a pair of glowing eyes emerged from the darkness, locking onto her with a hunger that chilled her to the bone. In the heart of the old mansion, whispers lingered in the air, echoing the dark secrets hidden within its walls. As the clock struck midnight, a chilling wind swept through the hallways, carrying the faint sound of laughter that sent shivers down her spine. Determined to uncover the source of the haunting sound, she took a step forward, her heart racing as the floorboards creaked beneath her feet. Suddenly, a door swung open on its own, revealing a dimly lit room filled with forgotten relics and an atmosphere thick with dread. Inside the room, she spotted an old mirror that seemed to pulse with an eerie glow, reflecting not her image, but a distorted face twisted in anguish. As she leaned closer, the whispers grew louder, forming words that warned her to turn back before it was too late. Ignoring the chilling warning, she reached out to touch the glass, feeling a cold sensation that surged through her hand like ice. As the fog thickened around the ancient woods, a chilling whisper echoed through the trees, warning those who dared to tread on the shadowed path. With each step deeper into the woods, the air grew heavier, and an unsettling silence surrounded her, as if the forest itself held its breath. Suddenly, a rustling sound emerged from the underbrush, sending shivers down her spine and igniting an instinctual desire to turn back. Ignoring the growing sense of dread, she pressed on, driven by a haunting curiosity that whispered secrets only the shadowed path could reveal. As she approached the marker, a chilling breeze swept through the trees, carrying with it the faint echoes of anguished cries from long ago. The whispers grew louder, wrapping around her like a fog, urging her to turn back while simultaneously beckoning her forward into the unknown. Compelled by an unseen force, she crossed the threshold of the ancient stones, plunging into a realm where the very fabric of reality felt distorted. In the hushed silence of the abandoned mansion, a chilling whisper echoed through the corridors, sending shivers down her spine. As she ventured deeper into the darkness, the air grew thick with an unsettling presence that seemed to breathe alongside her. Suddenly the whisper intensified, forming words that echoed ominously. "You shouldn't have come here." Heart-pounding, she spun around desperately, scanning the room for the source of the voice that seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere at once. Just as she thought to escape, the door slammed shut behind her, trapping her in a suffocating silence that felt alive with malevolence. With adrenaline coursing through her veins, she banged against the door, pleading for it to open, as the whisper transformed into a low, mocking laughter that chilled her to the bone. In a moment of sheer panic, she turned to face the darkened room, her breath quickening as the laughter faded, replaced by an unsettling silence that felt all-consuming. In the heart of an abandoned village, whispers of sinister secrets lingered in the air like a fog that refused to lift. The villagers spoke in hushed tones, warning newcomers to stay away from the decaying mansion at the edge of town. Legend had it that a malevolent spirit resided within one that fed on the fears of those who dared to enter its domain. One stormy night, a daring young man named Thomas decided to uncover the truth behind the haunted tale. As he crossed the threshold, an unsettling chill wrapped around him like a shroud, and the door creaked ominously behind him. With each step deeper into the mansion, the air grew heavier, filled with the distant echo of whispers that seemed to beckon him forward. Suddenly, a cold gust of wind slammed the door behind him, sealing Thomas inside with an unsettling finality. Heart racing, he pressed on, determined to confront the source of the chilling whispers that seemed to swirl around him like a dark cloud. As the heavy fog rolled in over Ravenwood, the townsfolk could feel an unsettling presence lingering just beyond their sight. Whispers of the past echoed through the streets, telling tales of a vengeful spirit that once roamed the land. On stormy nights, the ghost was said to appear at the edge of the woods, beckoning to those brave enough to approach. Curiosity drew a group of teenagers to the woods one fateful night, armed only with flashlights and tales of bravery. As they ventured deeper, the air grew colder, and a chilling silence enveloped them, heightening their sense of dread. Suddenly, a faint whisper floated through the trees, sending shivers down their spines as they exchanged terrified glances. With hearts racing, they pressed on, convinced that the stories were just myths, until they stumbled upon an ancient crumbling cabin. As they cautiously approached, the door creaked open on its own, revealing a dark interior that seemed to beckon them inside. Once inside, the air grew thick with a musty scent, and the walls seemed to whisper secrets of those who had come before. Suddenly, a cold breeze swept through the room, extinguishing their flashlights and leaving them in complete darkness. As the sun dipped below the horizon, the ancient manor loomed ominously against the twilight sky, its dark windows like hollow eyes watching for intruders. The locals whispered of the malevolent spirits that roamed its halls, tales spun with a mix of fear and fascination. As night fell, a chilling wind swept through the trees, carrying with it the faint sound of disembodied whispers that seemed to beckon the brave or foolish closer. With trembling hands, Sarah, the adventurous young woman, stepped onto the creaking porch, her heart racing as the door swung open with a haunting groan. Inside, the air was thick with dust and despair, each footstep echoing, as if the manor itself were alive, listening to her every move. Suddenly, a door at the end of the hallway slammed shut, sending a jolt of fear through Sarah as she instinctively turned to flee. Just then, the sound of soft laughter echoed from the darkness, chilling her to the bone as she realized she was not alone. Heart pounding, she narrowed her gaze into the darkness, squinting, as ghostly figures began to materialize, their faces twisted in sorrow and rage. In the shadowy depths of the old forest, a witch wept her tears, mingling with the fog that clung to the gnarled trees. Once a powerful sorceress, she had been betrayed by those she trusted most, leaving her heart heavy with grief and anger. Whispers of her sorrow echoed through the woods, transforming her lament into a haunting melody that sent shivers down the spine of any wanderer. As the moon rose high, its silvery light illuminated her frail figure, revealing the years of sorrow etched on her face. With each note of her lament, the forest seemed to respond, animals and spirits drawn to her sorrowful cries. Yet beneath her anguish lay a flicker of magic, an enchantment waiting to be awakened by the right words spoken in the stillness of the night. Desperate for solace, she began to weave her lament into a spell, hoping to reclaim the power that had been stripped from her. As her voice rose, the wind howled in response, swirling leaves and debris into a tempest around her. In that chaotic moment, a shadowy figure emerged from the depths of the forest, drawn by her anguished call. With trembling hands, she recognized the figure as someone from her past, a once loyal friend, now cloaked in darkness. Under the pale light of a crescent moon, the ancient crypt loomed ominously at the edge of the graveyard, its weathered stones whispering secrets of the past. As Sarah approached the crypt, her heartbeat quickened each step, echoing like a warning in the still night air. Inside, the air was thick with the scent of damp earth and decay, as cobwebs draped the corners like forgotten memories. Suddenly, a chilling breeze swept through the chamber, causing the heavy door to creak ominously as if it had a life of its own. With her flashlight trembling in her hand, Sarah spotted an inscription carved into the stone wall, warning of a curse that awaited any who dared disturb the resting souls. Ignoring the warning, she reached out to touch the inscription, feeling an electric shock course through her fingers as the crypt seemed to shudder in response. In that moment, a low moan echoed from the depths of the crypt, sending a wave of terror crashing over her, as if the very stones were awakening. Paralyzed with fear, she could barely move. The chilling realization dawned upon her that she was not alone in this cursed place. As the ghostly figure drew closer, its hollow eyes locked onto hers, whispering her name in a voice that echoed like a distant memory. In the early dawn, the cunning fox stealthily approaches the henhouse, its eyes glinting with mischief as it spots the unsuspecting young chicks. With a swift and silent leap, the fox pounces into the henhouse, ready to seize its breakfast amidst the clamor of squawking hens. The young chicks scatter in panic, their tiny hearts racing as they desperately seek cover from the relentless predator. With remarkable agility, the fox tracks one of the frightened chicks, its instincts honing in on the slightest movement in the straw. Just as the fox lunges forward, a loud clucking from the protective mother hen fills the air, rallying her young ones to regroup. The mother hen stands her ground, puffing up her feathers, as she confronts the fox, displaying fierce determination to protect her brood. Realizing the challenge before it, the fox pauses, calculating its next move, while weighing the risk of facing a protective mother. In a sudden strategic move, the fox darts to one side, attempting to distract the hen and lure her away from her chicks. Seizing the opportunity, one quick chick makes a break for it, darting across the open ground toward the safety of some nearby bushes. The fox's instincts kick in once more, and it dashes after the fleeing chick, eyes locked on its target, with the thrill of the chase igniting its predatory spirit. In the heart of a remote village shrouded in mist and legends lies the infamous Dark Valley, where no one dares to tread after sunset. Locals speak in hushed tones about the vengeful spirits that haunt its depths, their cries echoing through the night. One moonless night, a group of adventurous friends decided to challenge the legends and venture into the valley, armed only with flashlights and bravado. As they descended into the depths of the valley, an unsettling silence enveloped them, broken only by the crunch of twigs underfoot. Suddenly, a chilling howl resonated through the air, sending shivers down their spines and making them question their daring decision. In a moment of panic, one friend suggested they turn back, but the adrenaline of the unknown urged them to press on, deeper into the valley. As they moved further, strange whispers began to weave through the trees, sounding almost like their own names being called in mournful tones. Panic set in when one friend suddenly vanished, swallowed by the darkness as the others frantically searched for any sign of him. The remaining friends felt an overwhelming sense of dread wash over them, as if the valley itself was alive and watching their every move. In the dimly lit corridor of the abandoned opera house, the haunting melody of a lone piano echoed through the air, weaving a tale of sorrow and despair. As she stepped closer, the ghostly figure of the phantom appeared, his face shrouded in mystery and pain, reflecting a life consumed by unrequited love. With trembling hands, she reached for the sheet music scattered on the floor, each note a whisper of his tragic past that beckoned her closer. Suddenly, the chandelier above them flickered ominously, casting twisting shadows that danced along the walls, heightening the sense of dread. In that moment, the phantom's voice rose in a sorrowful aria, echoing through the vast emptiness filled with longing and regret for the love he could never possess. Moved by the haunting beauty of his song, she felt an inexplicable connection to his pain, as if their souls were intertwined across the chasm of time and tragedy. As the final notes lingered in the air, a chilling silence enveloped the space, and she realized that her heart now beat in rhythm with the phantom's lament. In a desperate act of compassion, she stepped forward, ready to embrace the tortured soul before her and offer solace to his haunted heart. As the sun dipped below the horizon, the eerie silhouette of the old mansion loomed against the blood-red sky, whispering secrets to anyone who dared to approach. With each creak of the floorboard, Sarah felt a chill run down her spine, as if the house itself were alive and watching her every move. The flickering candlelight cast long dancing shadows on the walls, revealing portraits of unsmiling faces that seemed to follow her with their haunting gazes. As Sarah ventured deeper into the mansion, the air thickened with an unsettling silence, broken only by the distant sound of a door slamming shut. Suddenly, a cold gust of wind swept through the corridor, extinguishing her candle and plunging her into darkness, amplifying the heartbeat echoing in her ears. Just as she felt her way along the wall, a whisper floated through the air, chilling her to the bone as it seemed to beckon her deeper into the unknown. Compelled by an unexplainable force, Sarah followed the whispers, her instincts screaming to turn back as she approached a door adorned with strange ancient symbols. With a deep breath, she grasped the cold doorknob, its metallic surface sending a jolt of fear through her, and slowly turned it, the door creaking in protest as it opened. In the heart of the jungle, a magnificent lion prowled, his hunger growing as he caught the scent of timid rabbits nearby. With a low growl, the lion moved stealthily, blending into the shadows as he prepared to strike. Suddenly, the rustle of leaves alerted the rabbits, and panic swept through their ranks as they sensed the predator's presence. In a frenzied dash, the rabbits scattered in all directions, their instincts kicking in to escape the looming threat. The lion, fueled by primal instinct, chased after the swiftest rabbit, his powerful legs propelling him forward with relentless speed. As the chase intensified, the jungle echoed with the sounds of rustling leaves and pounding hearts, each moment filled with primal urgency. Just when it seemed the rabbit could escape, it veered sharply, hoping to throw off the lion's calculated pursuit. But the lion, with his keen instincts, quickly adjusted, predicting the rabbit's next move and closing the distance between them. In a final burst of speed, the lion lunged forward, his powerful jaws opening wide to seize his prey as the jungle held its breath. With a swift and decisive motion, the lion captured the rabbit, a mix of triumph and hunger flashing across his eyes as he savored his victory. As the clock struck midnight, the wind howled outside, amplifying the eerie silence that filled the small, dimly lit room. A sudden knock echoed through the stillness, sending shivers down her spine as she hesitated to approach the door. Taking a deep breath, she slowly opened the door, revealing a figure cloaked in darkness. The figure stepped closer, its breath visibly chilling the air, as a low whisper filled the room with an unsettling message. "I've come for what was promised," it hissed, sending a wave of dread sweeping over her. Heart racing, she instinctively glanced around the room for something, anything, to defend herself against this unknown threat. Before she could react, the figure lunged forward, its dark cloak billowing like a storm cloud, intent on claiming what it had come for. In an adrenaline-fueled moment, she grabbed a nearby candle holder, raising it high as a desperate means of protection.
"Stay back!" she shouted, her voice trembling, yet filled with a fierce defiance that surprised even herself.
The air crackled with tension as the figure hesitated, eyes narrowing in contemplation, before it spoke again, its voice dripping with malice. In the heart of an ancient forest legend spoke of a mirror that revealed the darkest fears of those who dared to gaze into it. One stormy night, a curious traveler named Ilara stumbled upon the mirror, drawn by an unsettling whisper that beckoned her closer. As she peered into the reflective surface, her heart raced, for the image that stared back was not her own, but a sinister figure cloaked in shadows. Fear gnawed at her, yet a strange compulsion urged Ilara to step closer, to uncover the truth, hidden within the depths of the mirror. Suddenly, the shadowy figure reached out, its icy fingers grazing the edges of the mirror, sending a chilling shiver down Ilara's spine. In that moment, the whisper transformed into a cacophony of tormented voices, each revealing the darkest secrets and fears of those who had come before her. Desperate to escape, Ilara turned to flee, but the mirror's pull was strong, anchoring her feet to the ground as shadows began to swirl around her. Summoning every ounce of courage, Ilara broke the mirror's spell with a defiant shout, vowing to confront her fears rather than be consumed by them. In the dead of night, a chilling breeze swept through the abandoned house, carrying with it a ghostly whisper that made everyone shiver. As the whisper echoed off the walls, it seemed to call out a name long forgotten, drawing the curious closer to its source. Suddenly the wind howled louder, and for a brief moment the figure of a woman appeared, her eyes filled with sorrow and longing. With a trembling heart, the bravest among them took a step forward, compelled by an unexplainable urge to understand her pain. As the figure drew nearer, the whisper transformed into words, revealing a tragic tale of love lost and betrayal that had bound her to the mortal realm. Tears welled in the eyes of the listeners as they began to realize that they were witnessing a story that had been trapped in time for centuries. In that moment, the air thickened with emotion, and they understood that to help her find peace, they must uncover the truth of her lost love. As they searched the house, old letters and relics began to emerge, shedding light on the tragic events that had unfolded so long ago. With each discovery, the connection between the past and present deepened, igniting a fire of determination within the group to set her spirit free. In the darkened village of Hollow Creek, whispers of an ancient curse haunted the townsfolk, each believing that the devil himself had left his mark upon their land. One fateful night, a blood-red moon illuminated the sky, casting an eerie glow that sent shivers down the spines of the brave and the timid alike. A figure cloaked in tattered black rags emerged from the shadows, eyes gleaming with a sinister light as the air thickened with a palpable sense of dread. With a voice that echoed like thunder, the figure proclaimed that the time for reckoning had come, sending the villagers into a frenzy of fear and disbelief. As the ground beneath them trembled, the villagers recalled the tales of those who had vanished, supposedly marked by the devil himself, never to be seen again. In desperation, they gathered in the town square, clutching improvised weapons, united by fear, but divided by doubt about whether they should confront or flee from this dark force. Suddenly, a deafening clap of thunder, accompanied by a flash of lightning, illuminated the face of the figure, revealing a twisted smile that chilled their very souls. In the dim light of dusk, the village lay silent, its cobblestone streets shrouded in an unsettling fog that seemed to breathe unease into the very air. As the villagers gathered at the square, whispers of an ancient curse floated through the air, their faces pale with fear and uncertainty. Suddenly, a chilling howl echoed from the dark woods, piercing the oppressive silence and sending shivers down their spines. The village elder, his voice trembling, recounted the tale of the shadow that had haunted their lands for generations, an entity that thrived on their deepest fears. As twilight deepened, a sudden gust of wind extinguished the lanterns, plunging the square into darkness and amplifying the villagers' mounting dread. From the pitch-black shadows, a figure emerged, cloaked in darkness, its presence both menacing and enigmatic, drawing gasps of terror from the crowd. The figure raised a bony hand, its skeletal fingers beckoning, as the air around them thickened with an unshakable sense of impending doom. In that moment, the village seemed to hold its breath, an unspoken pact of terror, binding them together as the shadow whispered ancient secrets only they could understand. In the heart of a forgotten village, shadows whisper secrets of the past, chilling the air with an ominous presence. As night falls, the villagers gather around a flickering fire, their faces painted with fear and uncertainty. An old woman regarded as the keeper of dark tales begins to recount the haunting legend of the darkened soul. She describes a malevolent spirit that roams the night, preying on the fears of those who dare to forget its tragic story. As the tale unfolds, a chilling wind sweeps through the gathering, snuffing out the fire and plunging them into darkness. Panic grips the villagers as they realize they're not alone. A haunting whisper echoes through the trees, calling out to them. In a state of frenzy, they attempt to flee, but the ancient spirit has locked them in a nightmarish dance with their own fears. As they scramble for safety, one brave soul steps forward, recalling the only way to break the curse, confronting the darkened soul. With a trembling heart, the brave villager calls out to the spirit, demanding to know the truth behind its sorrowful existence. The air grows heavy as the darkened soul materializes, revealing a figure cloaked in shadows, its eyes filled with eternal anguish. The fog rolled in thick over Willow Creek, shrouding the abandoned houses and whispering secrets long forgotten. As night fell, the creaking of old floorboards echoed through the empty streets, punctuated by the distant howl of wind. In the heart of the town stood an ancient oak tree, its gnarled branches stretching out like skeletal fingers reaching for the sky. Local legends spoke of restless spirits that roamed the grounds, searching for the peace that had long eluded them. One fateful evening, a group of brave friends decided to uncover the truth behind the haunting that plagued Willow Creek. With every step they took, an eerie chill crept up their spines, as if the very air around them was alive with whispers. Suddenly, a loud crash echoed through the night, sending them into a panic, their hearts racing as they turned to see the source. Gathering their courage, they approached the house where the sound had originated, feeling an unseen presence urging them forward. As they stepped inside, the air grew heavy, with the scent of mildew and decay, and the flickering light cast ghostly shadows on the walls. In the dim light, they stumbled upon a dusty mirror that seemed to shimmer with a strange energy, drawing their attention. In the depths of a forgotten mansion, whispers echoed through the darkened halls, hinting at a presence that was never meant to be disturbed. As the wind howled outside, a sense of dread crept into the hearts of those who dared to explore its haunted corridors. Suddenly, a chilling sound reverberated through the air, drawing their attention to a door that had creaked open on its own. Compelled by a mix of fear and curiosity, they stepped closer, their hearts pounding like a drum in the haunted silence. Inside the room, the air grew colder, and an eerie fog began to swirl around their feet, as if something sinister awaited them. In the center of the room stood an ancient mirror, its surface cracked and tarnished, reflecting not only their images, but something far more sinister. As one brave soul reached out to touch the glass, a cold hand shot through the surface, gripping their wrist with an icy, vice-like hold. Panic erupted in the room as the others tried to pull their friend away, but the mirror seemed to draw them closer, its dark magic ensnaring their very souls. With every ounce of strength, they finally yanked their friend free, but the chilling laughter of the phantom echoed around them, leaving an imprint of terror in their hearts. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting eerie shadows across the gravestones, the cemetery keeper felt a chill run down his spine. He had always been the silent guardian of this sacred ground, but tonight something felt different, almost alive. Whispers danced through the air, tugging at the edges of his sanity, beckoning him to uncover the buried truth. With trembling hands, he unearthed an ancient key from his pocket, its metal cold and heavy with secrets yet to be revealed. As the key turned in the lock with a sinister creak, he felt the weight of the past pressing in around him, suffocating yet intoxicating. Inside, he found faded photographs and tattered letters that spoke of love betrayal and a curse that had haunted the cemetery for generations. As he pieced together the chilling tale, a dark presence seemed to awaken, twisting the atmosphere into a palpable dread. Realizing he had unleashed forces beyond his control, he felt the ground tremble beneath his feet, a warning from the restless souls. Desperation gripped him as he searched for a way to appease the vengeful spirits urging him deeper into the crypt's dark secrets. In the stillness of the night, a chilling whisper echoed through the abandoned hallways of the old mansion, beckoning the unsuspecting to unveil its dark secrets. As the clock struck midnight, Sarah felt an inexplicable urge to follow the voice, her heart racing with equal parts fear and curiosity. With each hesitant step, she took the air thickened around her laden with the scent of damp earth and forgotten memories. Suddenly, the whisper transformed into a low, menacing growl, sending shivers down her spine as she realized she was not alone. Gathering her courage, Sarah pressed forward, determined to confront whatever haunted the mansion's depths. The chilling growl escalated into a chorus of anguished whispers, each one echoing the tragic fate of those who had ventured here before her. As she descended the creaking steps, the walls seemed to close in around her, suffocating her senses with dread and despair. At the bottom, a flickering light revealed an ancient mirror cracked and coated in layers of dust, reflecting a distorted version of her terrified face. As she stepped closer, the whispers grew louder, urging her to touch the glass, promising revelations that could shatter her understanding of reality. In the shadowy corners of the ancient forest, a chilling wind whispered secrets of the night as the witch summoned her familiar. The familiar, a sleek black cat with glowing green eyes, emerged from the depths of the darkness, sensing the witch's call. As the witch began her incantation, the air thickened with a palpable tension, each word echoing through the night like a haunting melody. Suddenly the ground trembled beneath them, and from the shadows a growl reverberated, signaling the awakening of an ancient spirit. With her heart racing, the witch tightened her grip on the spellbook, knowing that the familiar's presence was crucial in the impending confrontation. As the spirit materialized, a wraith-like figure cloaked in shadows, it let out a bone-chilling shriek that echoed through the trees. Summoning her courage, the witch chanted louder, weaving ancient words that resonated with power, hoping to bind the spirit to her will. In an explosive surge of energy, the spirit lunged forward, but the familiar leaped into action, creating an ethereal barrier between them. With the barrier holding strong, the witch seized the moment to channel her magic, drawing from the depths of her own essence to confront the ancient entity. As the sun dipped below the horizon, an eerie chill settled over the small, isolated village where shadows danced and whispered secrets of old. Local legends spoke of a restless spirit known as the Wailing Wind, said to haunt the nights with its mournful cries. One fateful evening, a curious child named Emily decided to uncover the truth behind the chilling tales that haunted her home. As she ventured deeper into the woods, the wind picked up, carrying with it a haunting melody that seemed to beckon her closer. Suddenly, the air turned frigid, and an otherworldly voice echoed through the trees, whispering her name with a chilling familiarity. Heart racing, Emily pressed on, determined to find the source of the wailing that seemed to grow louder with each step she took. At last, she stumbled upon a clearing where the wind howled through the remnants of an ancient abandoned cabin, its windows shattered like hollow eyes. As she stepped closer, the wailing intensified, revealing a sorrowful tale of lost love that had cursed the spirit to roam forever. Suddenly, a cold breeze swept through the clearing, and the ghostly figure of a woman appeared, her face twisted in anguish as she called out for her vanished beloved. As the mist curled around the dilapidated mansion, its rotting wood whispered secrets of the long-forgotten past. With each creaking floorboard, a chill swept through the air, as if the house itself were alive and watching. An inexplicable dread settled in her stomach as she stepped further inside, drawn by the haunting echoes of distant whispers. Suddenly, a door slammed shut behind her, trapping her in the suffocating darkness of the house. Panic surged through her veins as she strained to hear the faint sounds of laughter echoing from the depths of the mansion. Compelled by a mixture of fear and curiosity, she followed the chilling laughter, her heart pounding like a drum. As she turned the corner, an icy breeze swept past her, carrying with it the scent of decay and memories long buried. In that moment, she stumbled upon a room filled with old broken dolls, their glassy eyes reflecting her terror. Just as she turned to escape, the dolls' heads shifted ever so slightly, as if acknowledging her presence. A low, melodic humming filled the air, wrapping around her like a chilling embrace, urging her to stay. With a surge of adrenaline, she bolted towards the door, desperate to escape the suffocating grip of the house. In a small, dimly lit room, shadows danced on the walls, whispering secrets of the past. As she hesitated at the entrance, a chill ran down her spine, as if the room itself were alive and beckoning her inside. Once inside, the musty smell overwhelmed her senses, carrying with it the weight of untold stories trapped within the confines of the walls. As she explored the cluttered space, her fingers brushed against an old tattered book that seemed to pulse with energy and intrigue. Opening the book, she was startled to find cryptic drawings and notes written in a hurried scrawl, hinting at dark rituals once performed within these walls. Suddenly, a loud creak echoed through the room, causing her heart to race as she felt the air grow thick with tension and fear. With every beat of her heart, she sensed a presence lurking in the shadows, watching her every move as if waiting for the right moment to reveal itself. In the eerie silence of the abandoned opera house, the shadows seemed to dance as whispers of a long-lost curse floated through the air. As the clock struck midnight, a chilling wind swept through the halls, carrying with it a melody that only the brave dared to follow. Drawn by the haunting tune, a young woman stepped cautiously onto the creaking stage, her heart pounding in rhythm with the melody. Suddenly, the music stopped, plunging the opera house into an unsettling silence that felt as heavy as the darkness surrounding her. In that moment, a cold breath of air brushed against her neck, and she turned to find an empty seat, yet the sensation lingered as if someone watched her. Just as she contemplated escaping, the unmistakable sound of footsteps echoed from the shadows, drawing closer with each passing second. Her breath hitched as she mustered the courage to call out, "Is anyone there?" with a voice that trembled like a fragile leaf in the wind. The response was a low, haunting whisper that seemed to echo from every corner. "You should not have come here." Panic surged through her as the lights flickered back to life, revealing the ghostly figure of the phantom standing center stage, a mask concealing his tormented face. The old wooden doll sat quietly on the shelf, its glassy eyes seemingly watching anyone who dared enter the dimly lit room. Legend had it that the doll was cursed, a spirit trapped within its fragile frame, longing for a way to escape. One stormy night, a curious teenager named Emily decided to investigate the legend for herself, drawn by tales of its haunting whispers. As she approached the shelf, a chill ran down her spine, and the air felt thick with an unsettling energy. Suddenly, the doll's mouth twisted into a sinister grin, and Emily heard a faint voice echoing her name from the shadows. Panic surged through her as memories of the stories flooded her mind. Those who dismissed the doll's power never returned. Determined not to become another victim, Emily turned to flee, but the door slammed shut as if held by an unseen force. Desperately, she glanced back at the doll, which now seemed to be glowing with an otherworldly light as it called to her. In that moment, Emily felt a strange pull, as if the doll's spirit was reaching out to her, inviting her into its cursed world. Fighting the urge to succumb to its call, she remembered the warning of a past owner. Once it chooses you, there's no turning back. In the heart of an ancient forest stood the infamous House of Shadows, its darkened windows gazing like hollow eyes into the night. Local legends whispered of the spirits trapped within its walls, longing for freedom and revenge against those who dared to enter. One stormy evening, a brave traveler named Jonathan decided to uncover the truth behind the sinister tales. As Jonathan stepped onto the creaking porch, the air thickened with an eerie silence, broken only by the howling wind. With a pounding heart, he pushed the heavy door open, revealing a dimly lit corridor lined with portraits that seemed to watch his every move. As he ventured deeper into the house, whispers echoed through the halls, chilling him to the bone. Suddenly, a gust of wind slammed the door shut behind him, trapping Jonathan in a world of darkness and despair. In that suffocating silence, a chilling laughter echoed from the depths of the house, stirring the shadows that danced ominously around him. Gathering his courage, Jonathan called out into the darkness, demanding to know who, or what, was haunting the House of Shadows. To his surprise, a spectral figure materialized before him, its translucent form flickering like a dying candle, carrying an air of sorrow and anger. In the shadowy streets of the city, a chilling discovery sends shivers down the spine of law enforcement as they uncover a series of identical murders, each victim seemingly plucked from different lives with no apparent connection. Detective Sarah Thompson, known for her keen intuition, is assigned to the case, driven by the urgency to unravel the sinister web of violence that has gripped the community. As she delves deeper into the investigation, Sarah discovers eerie similarities in the victims' backgrounds that suggest a chilling pattern lurking beneath the surface. The clock ticks relentlessly as Sarah races against time, aware that each passing hour could mean another life lost to the unseen killer. In a break from the case, a cryptic message arrives, hinting at an impending strike and igniting a sense of urgency within her team. Determined to intercept the killer, Sarah devises a meticulous plan that involves staking out key locations linked to the victim's last moments. As the night wears on, tension fills the air. Every sound becomes amplified as they wait for the slightest indication of the killer's arrival. Suddenly, a figure emerges from the darkness, sending adrenaline coursing through Sarah's veins as she signals to her team to be on high alert. As the archaeologists unearth the ancient time capsule, an eerie silence enveloped the site, hinting at secrets lost to time. Incredulous, they dusted off the exterior, revealing intricate carvings that hinted at a civilization long forgotten. Whispers spread among the team as they contemplated what knowledge or treasures might have once filled the capsule. As they opened the capsule's lid, a collective gasp escaped their lips, for the interior was utterly barren, as if it had been emptied intentionally. Puzzled, they examined the walls for any signs of what might have once resided there, searching for clues to unravel this intriguing enigma. Theories began to circulate among the team, suggesting that perhaps a catastrophic event had forced the original contents to be removed or destroyed. Determined to uncover the truth, they embarked on a meticulous investigation, scouring historical records and artifacts for any correlation. Days turned into weeks, and their relentless pursuit unveiled a shocking revelation. The time capsule's original purpose had been a warning to future generations. Realizing the gravity of their discovery, they gathered to discuss how this warning could reshape their understanding of the past. As the sun dipped below the horizon, a chilling wind swept through the old cemetery, whispering secrets of the long forgotten. The cemetery keeper, an elderly man with a haunted look in his eyes, emerged from the fog clutching a rusted lantern that flickered ominously. He had always been the guardian of this land, tasked with keeping the peace between the living and the restless spirits that roamed at night. But tonight felt different. An unsettling presence clung to the air, as if the graves themselves were stirring with discontent. As he walked among the tombstones, the keeper could hear faint whispers echoing through the cold night, calling for him to listen. Suddenly, a chilling scream pierced the silence, freezing him in place and sending a shiver down his spine, awakening his deepest fears. Determined to uncover the source of the distress, he tightened his grip on the lantern and ventured deeper into the cemetery's shadowy depths. As he approached an ancient mausoleum, the air grew thick with sorrow, and the whispers turned into mournful wails that echoed in his ears. Pushing the heavy door open with a creak, he was met with a sight that made his heart race. A figure cloaked in shadows, eyes blazing with an otherworldly light. In the small, forgotten town of Eldridge Hollow, whispers of a malevolent entity lurking in the shadows echoed through the streets. Legend had it that every decade on the night of the harvest moon, the entity demanded a sacrifice to keep the town safe from its wrath. As the night of the harvest moon approached, fear gripped the hearts of the townsfolk, each more terrified than the last. Finally, a brave young woman named Clara decided she could no longer sit idly by as the town succumbed to fear and superstition. Clara discovered the ancient text contained a ritual that could potentially banish the entity once and for all, but it came with dangerous risks. With a heavy heart, Clara gathered her closest friends to embark on a perilous journey to confront the dark secret hidden within the town's history. As they delved deeper into the forest, an unsettling silence enveloped them, broken only by the sound of rustling leaves and their own pounding hearts. Suddenly, an eerie howl pierced the silence, sending shivers down their spines and igniting their fight-or-flight instincts. In the heart of the whispering woods, a clever wolf devised a plan to outsmart the other animals of the forest. The wolf knew that the deer, rabbits, and birds were not just his neighbors, but also potential allies for his schemes. One moonlit night, the wolf approached a gathering of animals, spinning tales of an impending danger that threatened their peaceful lives. He suggested that they join forces to protect themselves, subtly planting seeds of doubt about each other's loyalty. As trust began to fracture among the animals, the wolf reveled in their growing paranoia, watching his plan unfold. With each passing day, the wolf's whispers fueled suspicion, and the forest became a place of fear instead of harmony. Finally, the animals decided they must confront this menace together, realizing that they had been manipulated. As the sun rose, the animals bravely approached the wolf, ready to demand answers and reclaim their trust. Cornered by their unity, the wolf realized that cunning alone could not overpower the bond shared among the animals. In a final plea, the wolf attempted to charm them with promises of friendship, but the animals were no longer swayed by his deceitful words. In the heart of the ancient forest roams a powerful creature known as the Elion, a majestic hybrid with the body of a lion and the massive tusks of an elephant, striking fear into the hearts of its prey. With its thunderous roar echoing through the trees, the Elion asserts its dominance over the other inhabitants of the forest. As it prowls through the underbrush, the Elion's golden fur glistens in the dappled sunlight, a predator like none other. Suddenly, with a swift and calculated movement, the Elion lunges at an unsuspecting antelope grazing nearby, demonstrating its incredible speed and agility. In a flurry of dust and leaves, the Elion captures its prey, showcasing not only its strength, but also a cunning intelligence that sets it apart from ordinary beasts. As the forest settles back into silence, the Elion stands over its prize, a testament to its prowess and the circle of life that thrives within this enchanted realm. In the dimly lit hallway of an abandoned mansion, echoes of distant whispers seem to draw her deeper into the shadows. As she hesitates, a chilling breeze sweeps past her, carrying with it the faint scent of decay and despair. Suddenly, a soft, almost imperceptible voice calls her name, sending shivers down her spine and igniting her curiosity. Compelled by an unseen force, she follows the sound, her heart racing as she edges closer to a door that seems to hum with energy. As she pushes the door open, a wave of cold air rushes over her, revealing a room filled with forgotten relics and a heavy sense of foreboding. In the center of the room stands a dusty music box, its lid slightly ajar, as if waiting for her to unleash its haunting melody. With trembling fingers, she lifts the lid, and the soft, eerie tune begins to play, filling the air with an unsettling nostalgia. In the heart of a forgotten land lies the enchanted forest where shadows dance and whispers echo beneath the towering trees. As night descends, the forest reveals its true nature, cloaked in a chilling silence that sends shivers down the spine. Legends tell of a creature that prowls these woods, its growl reverberating through the air, striking fear into the hearts of those who dare to venture near. One fateful evening, a brave young girl named Alara decided to uncover the truth behind the forest's haunting tales. With each step deeper into the woods, Alara felt an unsettling presence, as if unseen eyes were watching her every move. Suddenly, a bone-chilling howl pierced the silence, causing Alara to freeze in her tracks, her heart racing with fear. Determined not to turn back, Alara pressed on her courage, ignited by the stories of those who had faced the beast before her. The moon hung low in the sky, casting an eerie glow over the still waters of the haunted lake where whispers of lost souls beckoned the brave and the foolish alike. As night fell, a chilling breeze swept through the air, carrying the scent of damp earth and the echoes of past tragedies that lingered in the shadows. Local legends spoke of a forgotten boat that once ferried unsuspecting visitors across the lake, never to be seen again. One fateful evening, a group of adventurous friends decided to test the legend, armed only with their flashlights and bravado. As they paddled out into the foggy abyss, the haunting silence was shattered by a sudden splash, sending ripples across the lake's surface. Panic surged through the group as they turned to see a shadowy figure rising from the depths, its hollow eyes locking onto theirs with an unsettling intensity. In the quiet village of Eldridge, whispered tales spoke of a spectral figure known as the Grim Ghost, who roamed the fog-laden streets at midnight. Locals claimed that those who encountered the ghost were doomed to face their deepest fears, a curse that hung over the village like a dark cloud. One stormy night, a brave young woman named Clara decided to confront this malevolent spirit, determined to uncover the truth behind the legend. As the clock struck midnight, Clara stepped into the thick fog, her heart pounding, but fueled by a fierce determination to banish the ghost. Suddenly, a chilling whisper echoed through the air, sending shivers down Clara's spine as she felt the presence of the grim ghost closing in. Gathering her courage, Clara called out into the darkness, demanding to know why the ghost tormented the villagers and what could be done to set it free. In a forgotten village where shadows danced under the pale moonlight, an ominous legend whispered through the winds about a witch who cast terrifying spells. The villagers spoke in hushed tones of how the witch would summon storms and bend the will of those who dared to cross her. One fateful night, a brave young girl named Alara decided to confront the witch, driven by a desire to free her village from the curse. As Alara approached the witch's lair, the air grew thick with an unsettling silence, broken only by the echo of her own heartbeat. With a deep breath, she pushed open the creaky door, revealing a dimly lit room filled with strange potions and flickering candles. Suddenly, the witch emerged from the shadows, her piercing eyes glinting with ancient knowledge and a hint of malice. "Why have you come here, little girl?" The witch hissed, her voice a chilling whisper that seemed to reverberate in the air. In the heart of a forgotten village, an eerie silence settled over the cobblestone streets, broken only by the distant echo of a child's laughter. As twilight descended, an unsettling chill crept through the air, whispering secrets of a long-lost tale. Local legends spoke of a spirit trapped in the silence, eternally searching for a voice to break its haunting solitude. One fateful night, a curious teenager named Sarah ventured into the heart of the village, drawn by an inexplicable force. As she peered into the depths of the well, a chilling wind rushed past her, carrying the faint sound of desperate screams. Startled, Sarah stepped back, her heart racing as the screams seemed to intertwine with the silence, creating an unsettling melody. Determined to uncover the truth, she gathered her courage and descended the crumbling stones into the darkness below. On a stormy night, the old mansion loomed against the backdrop of flickering lightning, its windows dark and ominous. As curious whispers spread through the nearby village, tales of ghostly apparitions and strange sounds echoed in the minds of those brave enough to venture close. Determined to uncover the truth, a group of friends gathered their courage and set out to explore the mansion, armed only with flashlights and their growing sense of dread. As they stepped inside, the creaking floorboards echoed ominously, sending shivers down their spines as shadows danced in the corners of their eyes. Suddenly, a cold breeze swept through the hallway, carrying with it the faint sound of laughter that seemed to resonate from the very walls themselves. Fueled by adrenaline and curiosity, they ventured deeper into the mansion, where an ancient portrait hung crookedly, its eyes seemingly following their every move. As the sun sets behind dilapidated buildings, Shadows stretch ominously across the overgrown grounds of what was once a bustling asylum. Entering the crumbling structure, the air grows thick with an unsettling silence, broken only by the distant sound of dripping water. Strange graffiti covers the peeling walls, each eerie symbol whispering untold stories of the past inhabitants. Suddenly a chilling breeze sweeps through the corridor, sending a shiver down the spine as the temperature drops dramatically. As footsteps echo softly, a glimpse of movement in the corner of the eye sends adrenaline racing through the veins. Venturing deeper, the remnants of old medical equipment lie scattered like forgotten relics, each artifact holding a dark history within its rusted frame. In the heart of the building, a rotting journal waits on a table, its pages yellowed and filled with frantic scrawls that speak of despair and madness. In the heart of an old creaking house, a chilling whisper echoed through the darkness, warning of a malevolent presence lurking just beyond the reach of light. As she sat alone in the eerie silence, the air grew thick with a sense of dread, causing her skin to prickle with unease. Suddenly the whispering grew clearer, revealing a sinister message that chilled her to the bone. "I am always watching." Her heart raced as she fought the urge to flee, knowing that whatever was whispering could sense her fear. With a trembling hand, she reached for her phone, desperate to find solace in the glow of its screen, but it flickered and died, plunging her into deeper darkness. Just then the whisper transformed into a low, mocking laugh, sending chills cascading down her spine as if the very walls were taunting her. Realizing she was not alone, she finally mustered the courage to turn and face the source of the tormenting voice, her heart pounding in her chest. In the heart of an abandoned house, a door stood ajar, whispering secrets of the nightmare room within. Curiosity tugged at Sarah as she stepped closer, her heart pounding with both fear and excitement. As she crossed the threshold, a chilling breeze swept through, carrying with it whispers that seemed to call her name. The walls of the nightmare room were adorned with unsettling photographs, each capturing a moment of terror frozen in time. In the corner of the room, a dusty mirror reflected not only her image, but also fleeting shadows that danced just out of view. Heart racing, Sarah reached out to touch the mirror's surface, feeling an inexplicable pull as it shimmered under her fingertips. Suddenly, the reflections transformed, revealing scenes of past horrors that had unfolded in the very room she stood in. Overwhelmed by the visions, she stumbled backward only to find the door now sealed shut, as if the room itself wanted to trap her. In the heart of an old creaking mansion, Eleanor felt a chill rush down her spine as she noticed a dark figure lurking in the corner of her vision. She quickly turned her head, but the figure vanished, leaving only a sense of dread hanging in the air. Determined to uncover the truth, Eleanor ventured deeper into the mansion, her heart pounding like a drum in her chest. As she reached the end of the hallway, she discovered a dusty mirror that seemed to pulse with an eerie energy. Suddenly, the surface of the mirror rippled like water, and a sinister whisper echoed in her ears, urging her to step closer. Compelled by an unknown force, she reached out to touch the glass, feeling an icy sensation course through her fingertips. In that instant, the reflection shifted, revealing not just her image, but the shadowy figure from before, grinning wickedly. Panic surged through her as she stumbled back, but the figure stepped forward, reaching out as if trying to escape the confines of the glass. The wind howled through the barren trees as a lone figure approached the crumbling structure of the forgotten castle, its dark silhouette looming ominously against the stormy sky. As he stepped inside, the air turned cold and stale, sending shivers down his spine, with each creaking floorboard that echoed through the empty hallways. Faded portraits of long-forgotten nobles lined the walls, their eyes seemingly following him with an unsettling gaze that filled him with dread. Suddenly, a loud bang echoed from the upper floors, causing him to freeze in place, heart racing as he strained to listen for further sounds. Gathering his courage, he slowly ascended the staircase, each step feeling heavier as the atmosphere thickened with an unshakable sense of foreboding. At the top, he discovered a dust-covered chamber, its once grand furnishings now shrouded in a layer of neglect, hinting at stories of tragedy and despair. As the clock struck midnight, a chilling silence enveloped the small, forgotten town where shadows seemed to whisper secrets of the dead. Suddenly, a flicker of light appeared in the distance, drawing the attention of anyone brave enough to venture outside. With each step, the air grew colder, wrapped in an unsettling aura that hinted at a presence lurking just beyond the reach of sight. In the heart of the darkness, a low whisper echoed, sending shivers down the spine of anyone who dared to listen closely. As the voice grew clearer, it called out a name, an invitation laced with malice that seemed to resonate through the very bones of the earth. Compelled by a force beyond understanding, a young woman stepped forward, her heart pounding as the air around her thickened with dread. As she ventured deeper, the whispers transformed into anguished cries, haunting echoes of the souls lost to the night. As the fog settled around the old mansion, an eerie silence enveloped the air, hinting at the secrets hidden within its walls. A faint whisper echoed through the halls, chilling the spine of anyone brave enough to enter. Suddenly, the chilling sound of footsteps could be heard approaching with an unnatural slowness. The temperature dropped sharply, and a sense of dread filled the air as the phantom's presence became undeniable. In the flickering candlelight, a ghostly figure emerged, a sorrowful expression etched on its pale face. With a trembling voice, the spirit warned of an impending doom that awaited those who dared to ignore its message. As the warning echoed through the air, the walls trembled, and an ominous wind swept through the mansion, carrying with it the whispers of the past. Desperation took hold, as the living realized they were not merely haunted, but trapped in a cycle of betrayal and sorrow. The old Victorian house stood at the end of the street, its windows dark and foreboding, as if it were guarding secrets from a forgotten era. Locals often whispered about the strange noises that emanated from within its walls, a chorus of eerie echoes that sent shivers down the spine of anyone who dared to pass by. On a dare, a group of brave teenagers decided to explore the house, one stormy night, armed only with flashlights and their restless curiosity. As they pushed open the creaky door, a chilling breeze swept through the hallway, causing the hairs on the back of their necks to stand on end. With every step they took, the floorboards groaned beneath their weight, as if the house itself were warning them to turn back. Suddenly, a loud crash echoed from the back of the house, sending them into a panic as they exchanged terrified glances. The wind howled through the trees as Sarah ventured deeper into the forest, her heart pounding with every step. Glimmers of unease danced in her mind as the shadows began to twist and flicker, almost alive in the pale moonlight. Suddenly, a chilling whisper seemed to seep from the very ground beneath her, wrapping around her like a cold shroud. Her instincts screamed at her to turn back. Yet an unexplainable force pulled her deeper into the heart of the woods. As she moved forward, the trees seemed to close in around her, their gnarled branches reaching out like skeletal hands. A sudden rustle in the underbrush made her freeze, every muscle in her body taut with fear, as she strained to listen. Just then, a pair of glowing eyes pierced the darkness, locking onto hers and sending a jolt of terror through her veins. With her heart racing, she turned to run, the ominous sound of footsteps echoing behind her, growing louder with each stride she took. The abandoned mansion loomed ominously at the end of the street, its windows dark, like the depths of a forgotten soul. As the sun dipped below the horizon, shadows danced around the crumbling walls, whispering secrets of the past. Curiosity drew Sarah closer, her heart pounding with a mix of fear and excitement as she approached the creaking door. With a shaky hand, she pushed the door wider, revealing an entrance that seemed to swallow light itself. As she stepped inside, the air grew cold, and an unsettling silence enveloped her, broken only by the distant sound of a creaking floorboard. Suddenly, a chill ran down her spine as she noticed an old portrait hanging crookedly on the wall, its eyes seemingly following her every move. Compelled by an unseen force, she stepped closer, her breath hitching as the figure in the painting seemed to smirk. In that moment, the lights flickered ominously, and a low whisper echoed through the hallway, chilling her to the bone. As the clock struck midnight, an eerie silence filled the dimly lit room, broken only by the relentless ticking of the countdown timer. The air grew thick with tension, as shadows danced across the walls, hinting at something sinister lurking just beyond the reach of light. Every second that passed felt like an eternity, each tick echoing ominously, as if counting down not just time but a dark fate. Suddenly, an unsettling sound reverberated through the room, a low growl that sent chills racing down their spine. With heart pounding, they realized that the countdown wasn't just a timer. It was a harbinger of something dreadful about to be unleashed. As the final seconds slipped away, a deafening silence enveloped them, amplifying the dread that hung heavy in the air. In that moment, time seemed to freeze as the darkness coalesced into a shape, a figure that whispered their deepest fears in a voice that chilled the soul. On a stormy night, the villagers spoke in hushed tones about the abandoned tower that loomed ominously on the outskirts of town. Legend had it that the tower was cursed, housing the restless spirit of a long-forgotten sorceress. One fateful evening, a brave young girl named Eliza decided to uncover the truth behind the sinister tales. As she ascended the spiral staircase, each creak echoed through the chilling silence, heightening her anxiety. Reaching the top, she found an ornate door adorned with strange markings that seemed to pulse with a life of their own. With a deep breath, Eliza pushed the door open, revealing a room filled with dusty relics and an eerie glow emanating from an ancient mirror. As she approached the mirror, whispers filled the air, recounting the sorceress's tragic tale of betrayal and revenge. Suddenly, the reflection shifted, revealing the sorrowful figure of the sorceress, reaching out her eyes filled with both despair and anger. On a stormy night in a forgotten village, the air was thick with whispers of the ghost who sought revenge for the wrongs done to her. Locals spoke in hushed tones about the tragic tale of her betrayal, a once beautiful maiden who met a cruel fate at the hands of those she loved. As the clock struck midnight, a chill swept through the village, signaling the ghost's arrival to exact her vengeance. With each step she took, the ground trembled, and the villagers felt a shiver run down their spines, realizing her wrath was imminent. One by one, the villagers began to vanish, their screams echoing through the night as the ghost reclaimed her lost power. Desperate to appease her spirit, the remaining villagers gathered at the old well, the source of her sorrow, clutching offerings in trembling hands. As they dropped their offerings into the well, a powerful wind swept through the village, carrying with it the mournful cries of the ghost. As the sun dipped below the horizon, a chilling fog began to creep over the hills, shrouding the small, sleepy village in an eerie silence. Whispers echoed through the empty streets, tales of a sinister presence that haunted the hill, sending shivers down the spines of those who dared to wander too close. One fateful night, a group of brave souls gathered at the edge of the village, their hearts pounding with a mix of fear and curiosity, as they prepared to uncover the truth behind the legends. As they ascended the hill, the air grew colder, and an unsettling sense of being watched crept over them, intensifying with each step they took into the unknown. Suddenly, a blood-curdling scream pierced the silence, sending a jolt of terror through the group as they realized they were not alone in the shadows. Panic set in as they turned to flee, but the path back seemed to twist and turn into an unending labyrinth, further ensnaring them in the hill's sinister grip. In the heart of the ancient forest, a mysterious river flows its dark waters, concealing secrets untold. As the townsfolk speak of the river's legend, their voices tremble with a mix of fear and fascination, recounting tales of those who ventured too close. One fateful evening, a curious young girl named Alara decides to uncover the truth behind the river's dark allure. With her heart pounding, Alara takes her first steps into the dense underbrush, guided by the soft sound of flowing water. As she approaches the river's edge, an eerie chill fills the air, and strange whispers seem to weave through the wind. Suddenly, a shadowy figure emerges from the depths of the river, its haunting eyes locked onto Alara's gaze. Compelled by an unknown force, Alara steps closer, her fear battling with an insatiable curiosity about the figure's intentions. In a dark and twisted forest, the air was thick with the scent of magic, where an ancient witch concocted her powerful brews under the light of a crescent moon. With each ingredient, she added whispers filled the air, telling tales of love, revenge, and forgotten secrets. As the brew simmered, a deep rumble echoed through the forest, signaling that the magic was awakening within the cauldron. Suddenly, a figure emerged from the shadows, drawn by the allure of the witch's powerful potion, desperate for its magic to change their fate. With a sly smile, the witch beckoned the figure closer, knowing that every visitor had their own story and desire. As the figure approached, they revealed a heart-wrenching tale of loss and longing, hoping the witch could restore what had been taken from them. The witch, intrigued by the figure's plight, began to formulate a new potion, one that promised to weave together fate and desire with a touch of peril. As the sun set behind the ancient mountains, a chilling wind swept through the village, carrying whispers of the forgotten tomb, hidden deep within the forest. Locals spoke in hushed tones about the tomb-warning travelers, that those who dared to venture too close would never return. One fateful night, a curious young woman named Clara decided to uncover the truth behind the eerie legends. With her heart pounding, Clara took her first steps into the dense woods, the sounds of the village fading behind her. As she ventured deeper, the air grew colder, and an unsettling silence enveloped her, broken only by the distant rustle of leaves. After what felt like hours of wandering, she stumbled upon a cracked stone entrance overgrown with vines and ominous symbols carved into its surface. Despite the growing dread in her gut, Clara pushed the heavy door open, revealing a dark passage that seemed to beckon her inside. In the dim light of a whispering moon, the old woman muttered an incantation, her eyes reflecting a haunting darkness as she summoned the wrath of the black cat. As the last word left her lips, the air crackled with tension, and the black cat vanished into a swirling mist of shadows. In the days that followed, strange occurrences rattled the village, whispers of misfortune spreading like wildfire among the townsfolk. One evening, a young girl named Eliza, curious and brave, decided to confront the mystery behind the cat's curse that plagued her home. Armed with nothing but a flickering lantern, she ventured deeper into the woods, each step echoing with the weight of the unknown. Suddenly, a chilling howl reverberated through the trees, sending shivers down Eliza's spine. as she found herself surrounded by an unnatural silence. On a stormy night in a forgotten theater, the chilling notes of a ghostly melody echoed through the empty hall, sending shivers down the spine of anyone who dared to listen. Legend spoke of a phantom musician cursed to play his haunting song until someone could unlock the secret hidden within its melody. As curious souls ventured into the theater drawn by the mesmerizing sound, they found themselves captivated and terrified all at once. With each note, the phantom's sorrowful tale unfolded, revealing a tragic love lost to time and despair. But those who listened too closely would find themselves entranced, unable to escape the haunting pull of the phantom's song. In a desperate attempt to break the curse, a brave soul stepped forward, determined to decipher the melody that had ensnared so many. As she played the notes, shadows danced around her, whispering secrets of love and loss that echoed through the ages. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows over the abandoned cabin, a sense of unease filled the air, hinting that something was amiss with the renowned author. Inside the pages of the author's latest manuscript lay scattered as if a sudden disturbance had interrupted the creative flow, leaving behind only mystery and alarm. The faint sound of rustling outside drew attention, as if the very trees whispered secrets of what had happened to the writer who sought solitude. As night fell, a chilling breeze swept through the cabin, carrying with it an unsettling silence that settled over the secluded retreat like a heavy shroud. Suddenly, a loud thump echoed from the direction of the woods, startling the few belongings left behind and sending a shiver down the spine of anyone who dared to listen. Heart racing, the thought of what had befallen the famous author became almost tangible, as if the forest itself were alive, conspiring against those who sought to uncover the truth. In a small town nestled between rolling hills, an eerie stillness envelops the streets as the morning sun rises on an empty community devoid of its usual bustle. As authorities arrive to investigate the mysterious disappearance, whispers of fear and confusion ripple through neighboring towns. Residents search for answers, scouring homes and public spaces, but each corner reveals only emptiness and silence. The local authorities set up a command center determined to uncover any clues that could explain the town's sudden fate. Days turn into weeks, and the mystery deepens as search efforts yield no signs of the vanished townspeople or any hints of foul play. As rumors spread, theories emerge ranging from mass abduction to supernatural occurrences that haunt the townsfolk's imaginations. In the absence of tangible evidence, a sense of paranoia begins to grip the neighboring communities, igniting fears that the town's fate could befall them next. In the heart of a forgotten forest, an eerie silence envelops the air, interrupted only by the rustling of leaves underfoot. As night fell, an ominous mist began to creep along the ground, wrapping around the gnarled roots like a suffocating shroud. From the depths of the shadows, a pair of glowing eyes emerged, fixated on an unsuspecting passerby. With a chill running down their spine, they turned slowly, feeling the weight of an unseen gaze pressing against their back. Suddenly, a low growl echoed through the trees, sending shivers of dread coursing through their veins. Panic surged as they stumbled backward, desperate to escape the ominous presence that seemed to draw closer with each heartbeat. In their frantic rush, they heard the faint whispers of the forest, as if the trees themselves were warning them of the impending doom. Just as hope faded, they spotted a flicker of light in the distance, promising sanctuary, but shrouded in uncertainty. In the heart of a forgotten village stood an ancient house shrouded in legends and whispered fears. Locals spoke of strange noises echoing through its halls, and shadows flickering behind shattered windows. One stormy night, a daring group of friends decided to uncover the truth hidden within its walls. As they pushed the creaking door open, a chilling draft welcomed them, carrying the scent of decay. Whispers began to fill the air, echoing secrets from the past that sent shivers down their spines. Suddenly, a door slammed shut behind them, trapping them inside the house of secrets. Panicking, they realized the only way to escape was to confront whatever haunted the house. They ventured deeper into the house, the walls whispering tales of sorrow and betrayal with every step. As they opened the diary, a cold breeze swept through the room, sending chills racing down their spines. In the chilling heart of the forest, shadows twist and turn, concealing secrets that are better left undisturbed. As the unsuspecting campers set up their tents, laughter echoes through the trees, oblivious to the danger that lurks nearby. Strange noises soon replace their laughter, a cacophony of rustling leaves and distant whispers that send chills down their spines. One by one, the campers begin to disappear into the darkness, leaving only echoes of their screams in the stillness of the night. Desperation sets in as the remaining friends realize that something malevolent is hunting them, a creature born from the very shadows they feared. With every rustle of leaves, their hearts race, as they search for a way to escape the forest's grip before it claims them all. In a frantic bid for survival, they stumble upon an ancient tree, its gnarled roots seemingly holding secrets of those who vanished before them. In a dusty old mansion, a mysterious portrait hung on the wall, capturing the gaze of anyone who dared to enter the dimly lit room. Whispers of its haunted past echoed through the halls as villagers spoke of the artist who vanished under mysterious circumstances after completing the piece. One stormy night, a curious young girl named Clara ventured into the mansion, drawn by an inexplicable allure toward the haunting image. As she approached the portrait, Clara felt a chill run down her spine as if the eyes of the painted woman were watching her every move. Suddenly, the lights flickered and a low whisper filled the air, urging Clara to uncover the secret that lay within the painted depths. With trembling hands, she touched the frame, and to her astonishment, the portrait's surface rippled like water, revealing a hidden world beyond. Unable to resist the pull, Clara stepped through the portal, finding herself in a vibrant landscape that contrasted sharply with the dark mansion she'd left behind. As darkness cloaked the city, a chilling silence filled the air, hinting at the terror that was about to unfold. The infamous Night Stalker Richard Ramirez began his spree of violence, leaving chaos and fear in his wake. With his signature style of breaking into homes at night, he targeted unsuspecting victims, often committing unspeakable acts. As the death toll climbed, panic spread throughout Los Angeles, with citizens locking their doors and sleeping with weapons nearby. The police faced immense pressure to capture the elusive killer, launching a massive manhunt that gripped the nation. In a fateful turn of events, a survivor's testimony led to a composite sketch that ignited hope among the terrified populace. As the hunt intensified, a crucial break came when Richard Ramirez was recognized by civilians after attempting to flee a confrontation. In a small, forgotten village shrouded in mist, an eerie tale lingered among the townsfolk about a ghostly child who wandered the moonlit streets. The legend spoke of a little girl dressed in white, her hair flowing like silk, who appeared only to lost souls in need of guidance. On stormy nights when the wind howled through the trees, many claimed to hear her soft whispers calling for help. One fateful evening, a brave boy named Thomas decided to follow the whispers drawn by an unexplainable force. As he ventured further, the air grew colder, and shadows seemed to dance around him, heightening his sense of dread. Suddenly he caught a glimpse of the ghostly child, her translucent figure illuminated by the silver glow of the moon. "Help me find my way home," she pleaded with a voice as soft as the rustling leaves, and Thomas felt an overwhelming urge to assist her. In the heart of an ancient village, there stood walls shrouded in mystery, said to whisper secrets of the past to those who would listen. Generations had passed, and yet the tales of lost loves and forgotten heroes lingered in the air like a gentle breeze. One fateful evening, a young girl named Alara ventured close to the walls, her heart pounding with excitement and fear. As she placed her hand against the cold stone, she felt a strange warmth radiating from within, as if the walls were alive. Suddenly a voice echoed in her mind, weaving a tale of bravery and sacrifice that sent shivers down her spine. Ilara listened intently as the whispering walls revealed the story of a forgotten knight who once protected the village from darkness. With each word, Ilara felt a deep connection to the knight's courage, igniting a spark of bravery within her own heart. In a quiet village, an old cat named Whiskers faced an unusual dilemma involving a stubborn donkey named Benny. Whiskers had always been revered as the wisest animal in the village, but Benny's antics were testing even his patience. One sunny afternoon, Benny decided it was a perfect time to munch on the freshly planted vegetables in the village garden. Whiskers, sensing the impending disaster, hurried over to confront Benny before the garden could be completely ruined. "Why must you always cause trouble, Benny?" Whiskers exclaimed, his voice tinged with both frustration and concern. In a small village where time seemed to stand still, whispers of ancient tales spoke of those who were once revered, but had long faded from memory. Among the villagers, there was an old woman named Alara who carried the weight of those forgotten stories in her heart. Every evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, Alara would gather the children around her, eager to share the legends of the forgotten ones. One evening, she spoke of a brave warrior named Kalen who once defended their land from shadows that threatened to engulf it. As Alara recounted Kalen's deeds, the children listened with wide eyes, imagining the fierce battles and the courage it took to stand against the darkness. In a secluded valley shrouded in mist and legends lay the infamous Cursed Village, where whispers of sorrow echoed through its abandoned streets. Once a thriving community, the village had fallen victim to an ancient curse that plagued its inhabitants with misfortune and despair. The legend spoke of an ungrateful villager who had wronged a mysterious traveler, leading to the village's relentless suffering. With each passing year, the villagers grew more desperate, their faces etched with fear as crops failed and illness spread like wildfire.